For free?
Those are some heavy-duty hostages.
Yo, but consciousness. Free Palestine.
Baby walk, what up? What up, dog? Come on in. Come on in.
Free Palestine.
Yo, Junie. Welcome.
Global consciousness.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
What up, Popey?
Consciousness.
Free Palestine.
Yo, Fletch. Welcome. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in.
Free Palestine.
Maddie. So, hey, Joe. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. I feel like we're ready today. I feel like we're pretty ready today. Hey, Doug.
Global
We're ready to roll. We're ready to roll. Kia ora, Michael's Brush. Hey, Michael. How are we?
Palestine.
Hey, Redlocks. How are you? I'm good, thank you. How are you doing? Oh, my gosh. Hey, Easy B. Hey, Ed. How are we? How are we? Oh, I love it. Yo, Breakbeat Kid. I hope you enjoyed some shitty drum and bass. Oh, sorry, dubstep. Hey, I'm good, but a little tired this afternoon. Easy B, what's happened? What's happened, Easy B? Hey, Street Smarts, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Man, there's...
Now, Yemen's on.
So there we are.
So there we are.
I hope everyone's doing well. There is obviously a lot going on. So I just ate some Smarties candy and I'm tired. Oh, right. Okay. I thought you were like you were tired of the war and the atrocities and all of that stuff. but Smarties candy is pretty legit reason. Okay, today we're going to be going over a few things: war, climate, economy, and end it with a bit of racism. I mean, who doesn't like a bit of racism? Just kidding. Oh no, I'm physically tired. All right. Who doesn't like a bit of racism, right? So we're gonna end with a little bit of that. But there is a fair bit going on, guys. Obviously, we know with Iran, Iran has put up its demands, and America is mulling it over. It's not. I don't think America is gonna agree with any of this stuff. But let's take a look, because Iran is definitely putting its foot down. I'm concerned for over the next few weeks whether this is gonna escalate or not. Like, let's be real, nothing good is coming out of this. Nothing good can come out of this. I think it's just an escalation cycle that's gonna keep devolving, because I don't think Donald Trump is equipped to deal with this situation. I sounded the man, and the white supremacists aren't going to go with it. Yeah. It's all bad. But if you know what Trump started it, for Israel, no, Trump started it for Trump. Also, I just want to address, I rated Complainy Laney yesterday, and I heard that it didn't go too well. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why. Apparently now I'm racist against brown people. Yeah. Apparently now I'm racist against brown people, and the overthrow of Assad was wrong. So I honestly, guys, it's kind of like a, hey, Shiny, it's a hit and miss at the moment. It's a hit and miss at the moment. Somalilanders hate me. Somalilanders hate me. On TikTok. Tanky leftists hate me on Twitch. I don't know. She did the same thing to an autistic streamer a couple of years ago too. I don't know, man. I thought Complainy Laney was cool. I don't know why. That's why I rated her. Otherwise, I wouldn't have rated her. So whatevs, guys. I'm just gonna say sorry if that affected you in any way. That wasn't my intent. I didn't realize it was like that. I just rated because I thought she was a solid streamer, and we've had conversations before. We've had conversations before. They said something about my anti-communist views. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So let me make this very clear. White leftism has a problem. She likes China a lot. Okay, well. Look, man, if these are reasons to just shit on our community, then I don't understand it. I have just made it very clear that white leftism often leaves out white supremacy and white privilege. And I don't think white leftists like that. White leftists despise that talking point because it points to something core that's wrong with our societies. Pointing out the existence of white supremacy and white privilege, even in leftist spaces, is not a bad thing. It's about deconstructing systems of oppression. So, yeah, I think some white leftists have issue with that, take issue with that. And I've been pretty vocal about it. I've told Kairos as well, why the hell should I listen to Karl Marx, a white European guy, talk about oppression when, I'm from fucking India, bro. My ethnicity is Indian. Why do I need to listen to like a white European dude tell me about oppression? You know, it just doesn't make fucking sense. Yeah, if they can't understand that, if they're so fucking dogged in their stance with like, you know, recite the Communist Manifesto and then you'll be free of your sins, then they're treating it like a religion. It's no more anything to do with a valid critique of capitalism. It's just another religion, another cult. So I don't know, guys. Like, I don't hate communists. I just critique from all perspectives. But I will say this: this community is about equity for all. This community is about equity for all and moving the world in a direction of equitable outcomes for everybody. I hate being labeled as any I don't mind being called a leftist because I think I am definitely a leftist because I believe in social good. But yeah, just like you're either for communism or against communism thinking is just stupid in my mind. Anyway, let's move in. There's important shit to talk about, like the war in the Middle East.
So there we are.
By the way, don't be afraid to ask me questions about this. You can obviously pick my brain about this. I'm not going to fucking lose my shit because of that. Walaikum assalam, Walaikum assalam, Jujus, which is why I'm kind of like surprised. Why didn't Complainy Laney just like talk to me about it, you know? Instead of losing his shit to the community. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Iran sets 6 conditions for U.S. diplomatic engagement, including end to threats and sanctions. Here we go, everybody. This is new. This is brand new. Fresh out of the media womb.
He came up with 6 conditions calling for the United States to, quote unquote, correct its behavior. And these 6 conditions include: first, stop the threatening language against Iran. That is his demand. Also, he came out to say that ending the war in all fronts, including the Iranian front as well as the Lebanese front. This is another key point of concern for the Iranian side, and that has been so since the beginning of the talks that ended up in the Memorandum of Understanding in Islamabad. Also,
happy Sunday. It's Monday for us here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. It's Monday morning.
He called for the removal of the maritime naval blockade by the Americans, another important issue because that is critically important for Iranian trade and Iranian economy in particular, because that is quite dependent upon oil export, and the situation here is putting a lot of pressure for an economy which is already deteriorated. Also, he called for compensation for the damages that Iran has suffered from as a...
It's also funny, right? Like, apparently I'm the one who hates communists, and then I raided her, and she lost her shit with our community. It's like, I wasn't even there, but I got messages on Discord. But, like, if I hated communists, why would I even bother raiding her, man? Like, what the fuck?
The result of war. And this is not only him. Also, we've got from the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi yesterday talking about the necessity for compensation. And also, number 5, he talked about the removal of the sanctions. He called them illegal and unjust sanctions against Iranian people. Again, that has been another precondition for any diplomatic engagement, or at least a sort of objective when it comes to potential diplomatic engagement. And last but not the least, he calls for the release of the frozen assets of the country.
Complainy Laney. Noisy is in the future. Yes, we are in the future here. We are in the future. Welcome, everybody. Okay, guys, like we need to be, I guess, more selective about who we raid. I honestly, I don't know what undercurrent there is about me on Twitch. Obviously, there are groups like who will label me and all of this stuff. It's on Discord or anywhere else. Like we're not labeling streamers or creating undercurrents of like narratives and all of that bullshit. We don't do that. But yeah, I have no fucking clue what people think about me outside of like the streams that we do here, and we just got to be careful who we raid, I guess. This is one of the few communities I've ever felt completely safe in. Jules, that's awesome. That's amazing. Wait, what did I miss? Now, we raided someone yesterday, and I got a whole bunch of messages just saying that they weren't too happy that I raided them. I have no clue what these people are like saying about me. I do lots of discovery before suggesting raids. All good, man. Like, we haven't had an issue raiding people. We haven't had an issue raiding people, Like, we've raided people a lot. And, yeah, it's just weird to just hear about it. It's just weird to like hear about it and not be, someone not messaging me and saying it. Like even with Ray, at least he even messaged me, before I bought him out. But this was just like odd. You can't say you're surprised. Really? I'm pretty fucking surprised. What is happening with UNICEF spreading misinformation from Israel? Is it UNICEF spreading misinformation? Maybe your full anti-state policy. They are pretty pro-Russia and China in their community. Really? Why the fuck would you be pro? Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna get in trouble again. Yeah. and ironically, I tend to do vibe checks before even following channels. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's how it should be, right? Like I've done lives with Complainy Laney before, Katie when she was doing her streams and things like that. But I don't know, man. Like, oh, did they fight her? I haven't seen what UNICEF did. Hey, dear, welcome. But it is upsetting that they haven't spoken to me about it. It's just like in the ether somewhere.
A provincial state of emergency.
This is the BBC, guys. Emergency declared as Canada. Oh shit. Okay, wait, hold on. Why is this in this category? This is not war. This is climate. What the fuck are you doing, Noisy? What the fuck are you doing, buddy? Al Jazeera, Yemen port attack. Al Mokha port, just north of Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Bab el-Mandeb Strait attacks. I do think the West has overly painted Russia in a negative, just like we have with China. But yeah, there's still plenty of skeletons in those states' actions. My only point is, if you say that you're ACAB, then why doesn't it apply to all cops? Like why just American cops or European cops or Israeli cops, or Ukrainian cops? Why not Russian police? Why not Chinese police? ACAB's ACAB. Indian police. Like, I don't understand, man. What? So you're okay if there's repression through Chinese police systems? Like, what the fuck are you saying? Be consistent. Or call yourself a scab, Some cops are bastards. Don't call yourself ACAB.
Now, Yemen's Ansarullah Houthis, who are backed by Iran, say they've attacked a Saudi oil facility with a drone. Earlier, a fire broke out at the Aramco facility in Jazan along the kingdom's Red Sea coast. Saudi Arabia's energy ministry says the blaze has been extinguished and there are no casualties. And Yemeni media are reporting an attack on the strategic port
ACAB includes Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol. Yeah, I love it. I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine the other day, and then I was like, bro, these guys are trying to whitewash the NYPD. You know, they're trying to water down what the NYPD actually does. I wanted to let Amber know, because Amber was watching it. It's funny, okay? Amber was watching it, and I wanted to tell her that, you know, we're ACAB in this noisy community, but it was almost midnight, man. I just couldn't do it. Amber was enjoying it. I just couldn't let her down at midnight.
Of Al Mocha, which is just north of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Several explosions have been reported at the port. Yemeni media says the strike was carried out by the Ansarullah Houthis, but it has not claimed the attack. Now, Yusuf Maori is in Yemen's capital, Sana'a. Yusuf, this seems to be a fight back by the Ansarullah Houthis. Just take us through the latest and what the incidents actually mean.
Yeah, Zetetic, exactly. I think that's a huge problem, right? And I've called it out before because people have come at me with gospel about fucking Karl Marx and other leftist figures. And this is a lot of white leftists do this because white leftism sometimes feel like colonization of marginalized spaces. And white leftists need to understand that white supremacy and white privilege are still very much part of white leftism, and it needs to be analyzed and acknowledged. Just because you're a leftist, your whiteness doesn't disappear. The white privilege doesn't disappear. You know, so. It's got to be. I don't think people like that. I don't think people like me saying that, but it's just the fact.
Well, this is the first time in several months that the port of Mocha has been attacked by,
thank you, Cici.
According to reports, Ansarullah Houthi movement. This is a port that's under the control of the Yemeni armed forces. The Ansarullah Sana'a government had control of the port of Al-Mocha in 2016 and 2017, but then it was taken over by the Yemeni government forces. The Ansarullah Houthis have been trying to regain control of the port of Mocha because it's right there next to Bab el-Mandeb. It gives them a very strategic advantage to monitor all of the vessels, the oil tankers that are attempting to cross Bab el-Mandeb from the Gulf of Aden, from the Arabian Sea, all the way into the southern Red Sea and then into the Suez Canal area. This is a
Many people glorify Marxism and communism nowadays, but they don't understand how dangerous it is. I don't think it's dangerous. I don't think Marxism as a concept is dangerous. I mean, Marxism is talking about a classless, a stateless, classless society that produces based on need, not unlimited consumption. It isn't dangerous. It's just that people weaponize. It's just that people weaponize these theories and look at it from a very I guess singular perspective. Often Marxists, especially in the West, white Marxists in particular, think that understanding Marxism and being a Marxist, understanding Marxism means they will understand the Vietnamese struggle or understand the struggle of the Chinese people, or understand the struggle of the enslaved. It's not harmful. It's not harmful. It's just often weaponized by people I'm Romanian. I'm a communism descendant. Yeah. Because Marxism says socialism is meant to be flexible and exhibit the culture and needs of the people implementing it. It's not a rigid framework. Stubbornness and diligence are heroic traits. I've seen the aftermath of communist genocide, but there's been capitalist genocide too, dear. I don't think genocide is a communist notion only. I mean, genocide is a human trait, and in the last 600 years, a white supremacist trait. Like, you know, the British starved more people in India in 40 years than all of the communist crimes combined. So you'll talk about Mao, you'll talk about Stalin, you'll talk about North Korea, you'll talk about all of these things, and you'll go, oh, look how many people they starved. Britain starved more Indian people to death in 40 years than all of those things combined. So it's not like mass murder is particularly a political has a political lean, but also Mao wasn't communism. Oh my gosh. Now we have fucking snowflakes in the chat going, total bullshit. Where's your evidence?
A very vital port for humanitarian aid to enter the country. And what this is an indication of, it's that the Yemeni Ansarullah Houthi movement will be attempting to try to gain more territory in the Red Sea port of Mukha. They first have to go through Western Ta'iz, which is under the control of government forces, and there's been reports earlier this morning of clashes taking place southwest.
I think the one thing to understand is that state-based violence is inevitable no matter what policy. Yeah, mute them. This person is obviously a fucking chud. State-based violence is inevitable as long as the state feels that it has more power than the working class. When the state feels like it has more power than the working class, atrocities are inevitable. This is why I say, do not simp for states. What is an equitable system, you reckon? I think we should stop voting for people and start voting for policy. I think people fuck things up. I think we should be voting for policy. And whoever is elected to run, is elected to look after the portfolio of policies voted for by the people is interchangeable. Like, the people can decide to kick them out whenever. But policies should be the thing we look for, not people. I think we're too focused on personality now. We should be focused on outcomes.
Of in southwestern Ta'iz, where it basically leads to the road that leads into the port of Mukha. We are closely monitoring the situation, and we'll have the latest updates coming in the coming hours. The statement from the Ansarullah Houthi movement, Yahya Sari, is expected in the next hour, and he will give details of what missiles or drones were used in this latest attack.
That's useful.
Like, if you start hearing about your politician too much, then they've failed. Like, we should have an accountability filter. We should have an accountability filter. Like, just do what you're there to do. If you do anything extra, we'll fire you. The power should be with the people, not with the politicians. I hate how it works at the moment. Is like we vote for personalities, we vote for ego, but not for policy. It's crazy. People act like they vote for policy, but it's all bullshit. Oh yeah, and guess what? Israel has rejected Trump's 15-point plan for Gaza because the average person doesn't understand policy. Hey, Dane, how are you? Average person doesn't understand policy. Yeah, I think politics needs to be a part of school curriculum, just as like mathematics is. I think it needs to be I think education in politics has to be embedded into our education systems. What will it take for the Israeli regime to collapse? The dismantling of white supremacy and white privilege. Don't like any politician. They're a tool, not your friend. When have they come to help move a couch? Yeah. I hope we're pulling our toys back. Let BB fight his own battle. Yeah. I miss programs like Schoolhouse Rock. I think political education is just so lacking. I think people need to be educated on the importance of it from day dot, bro. Like, after a child is born, they're like, they need to know. They need to know.
Now, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected President Donald Trump's Board of Peace 15-point plan for Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu said that the Israeli army...
And the curriculum needs to be modeled with a diverse group of people, right? Like, right now, the biggest issue with AI is that if you look at the employees that Elon Musk has in his AI crew, they're all white people. Google had issues with image recognition because it fed a whole bunch of white people's images into its image recognition, if you remember. And and that caused a huge problem. Like, whatever we do now has to reflect the world we live in. Otherwise, we are fucked. If our children are indoctrinated by inequitable narratives, then we are fucked. We are so fucked. We need to understand. One of the main things that children need to understand is how empires have worked and how power and divisions in our societies cause issues. And these things need to be studied at school, honestly.
would not withdraw from Gaza until Hamas fully disarms. Last month, Donald Trump had announced the plans for Hamas to disarm if Israel pulled out of Gaza. Well, in just the past few moments, Hamas has told the AFP news agency that the US must pressure Benjamin Netanyahu to accept the Gaza deal. Despite a ceasefire being agreed last October, Israel's continued to carry out strikes on Gaza, with the health ministry saying that more than 1,200 people have been killed. Well, let's cross over to Jerusalem. My colleague John Donaldson joins us now. And John, a blow for Donald Trump's peace plan. Just talk us through what Benjamin Netanyahu has been saying.
It is a blow. I don't think it comes as a massive surprise, this statement from Prime Minister Netanyahu, but he did take some time to make it, perhaps reflecting the difficult position he is in, because he clearly does not like this plan that President Trump has come up with, but he doesn't want to upset Israel's greatest ally. But he was pretty clear today He said that Israeli forces would not withdraw at all until there was full Hamas disarmament. He said that couldn't be some fictitious.
Let me tell you what bothers me about people like white leftists like Complainy Laney being pissed off about the fact that, you know, I'm critical of the state of China or Russia. It's because I spend 90% of the time, 90 to 95% of the time being critical of white supremacy and white privilege. And I think my levels of criticism of all of these places are symmetric in nature based on how much impact they're having on society. I am consistent as much as I can be. I try my best to be consistent. The problem I have with Complainy Laney's, like, I don't know what she said to you guys, but I've had a couple of messages talking about what she said. Let me be clear. Leftist spaces like Complainy Laney's, you had a beef with? No, I didn't. I literally, Scars, like I raided Complainy Laney yesterday, and apparently she said some horrible shit about me and the community. We raided her.
Disarmament, as he put it, it had to be real. And this comes really just over a week since President Trump announced with great fanfare that Hamas for the first time had agreed to disarm in exchange.
Yeah, it's mods. Our mods told us it's in Discord. Juju's, it's in Discord.
For Israeli withdrawal, something that he called a monumental step. Well, already we've had a step backwards.
So what does this mean for Gaza then? What happens next?
You are critical of Laney? Never. I've never, ever said anything critical of Laney, ever. Other than today, obviously. I know there's quite a few chatters here that I've seen in Laney's chat, and things seemed well. Another instance of leftist infighting. What did I start, though? Like, why am I getting pulled into this infighting? Why am I getting pulled into this infighting when... Don't do this on stream. Why? What am I doing? I don't... Jesus. Hey, Jerry, welcome. Arnaldo,
Well,
just
I don't think
relax.
much is going to change for Gaza at the moment. I mean, Prime Minister Netanyahu said he was now going to be in discussion with American officials about how to move forward. And I think the reality is that if there is going to be disarmament and withdrawal, then it's going to have to be phased. You know, there would have to be some weapons handed over and then Israel pulled out of some areas. There would have to be then more weapons until eventually you got to all arms being handed over and maybe Israel fully withdrawing. But even that, you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu is in a tough spot. He is under enormous...
Laney is on our side. She's not the enemy here. Yeah, but why is she talking shit about me then? Like, am I just supposed to, like, move on and not address it? What the fuck is that? I raided her. I was trying to do her a favor. I don't need to raid her anymore.
Pressure from the right wing of his party. We've got elections coming up in just a few months' time, and it is unimaginable, really, certainly before those elections.
No, chatters aren't just saying shit. Even our mods message me. Even our mods message me, Arnaldo. This is not like some bullshit like I'm just making up. It happened yesterday. It's fucked.
Think of Israeli with forces withdrawing. So I think
Callum on Twitch.
Back to
because I'm not a communist.
So what does this mean for the elections, as you say, which are coming up in just the next few months?
Well, look, at the moment, Prime Minister Netanyahu is behind in the polls. If there was an election tomorrow, his coalition would probably lose. So there's a lot at stake for him. And, you know, there is not an appetite amongst the Israeli public to take a tough stance, a soft stance on Hamas in Gaza. There is no...
Apparently, she also said that I'm, like, racist against brown people. Oh my gosh,
no
bro.
appetite to make concessions. There is an appetite to continue the operations in Lebanon, where Israeli forces continue
Salam,
to
Raf.
occupy a large chunk of land, and there's quite a lot of appetite for Israel to resume the war with Iran. So certainly before those elections, I can't see Prime Minister Netanyahu becoming dovish. If anything, he's likely to become more hawkish. And I think there is an argument that it might play well with the Israeli public if he can say, look, I am the only Israeli leader who's prepared to stand up to our greatest friend, America, when it's in Israel's interests.
OK, John, as always, many thanks for that update. John Donnison there joining us.
Yeah, I've been called racist against brown people. Also, like another white leftist called me more white than themselves. The Twitch tanky bubble may be further isolating itself. Yeah, I know they've started a whole group called Tank Tube. Bro, like, I just don't understand. I think this is what I mean by white leftism. And I think white leftists need to acknowledge it. Need to acknowledge their white privilege. Like, that's all I'm saying here. I don't think white leftists should ever feel like just because they have left-leaning ideas that their whiteness somehow disappears. They shouldn't do that. Leaping Larry, Laney, and a few others I've watched are all part of it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what set all of them off, is my views on white leftism. And this is what happens all of the fucking time, is they never address the core issue that's bothering them. They always have to, like, say things like, oh, you're racist against brown people, you know, like stupid fucking shit like that. When I know that something triggered them and they're just using other shit as... We focus more on dismantling white supremacy and having more equity for all. If any of that bothers you, then I don't want to support. Is that for me, Scars? Was that for me?
Friday night in Gaza, the 31st of July. Only hours before, the US had announced plans for the second phase of the ceasefire, calling it a historic breakthrough.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I think like one of the main things is I've said this before, and I know that people get upset by this, but I do not feel that we can fight an effective class war or an effective fight against the patriarchic system without dismantling white supremacy and white privilege. And this is exactly the reason why. Because within leftism itself, white privilege and white supremacy plays a massive role. Whiteness in white spaces need to realize needs to realize that when whiteness doesn't acknowledge what white supremacy and white privilege is about, it just feels like another marginalized space being colonized. And it has to be very clear. It's like if white leftists do not acknowledge their whiteness, their white privilege, it's not going to work. Like, that is the core thing about all of this, is there has to be some acknowledgement that white leftists can always default back to their white privilege. Who is Ginger? Ginger's our dog, Dane. He's had a tough few weeks. He's had 2 major surgeries. Very expensive. It's been like a massive, massive deal in our family. He's home now. He's lying down. But yeah, I remember her going after Ecobaz a few times. That left a bad taste in my mouth. Ginger's feeling okay, Dea. He is getting better, but he needs to rest, you know? He needs to rest. He's gonna turn 3 at the end of this year, and he's at that age where he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want to stop. Like, he wants everything to be the way it was, but his body has to adjust. His body has to heal. He still wants to, he still wants to go for big walks. Yeah, can't have the zoomies, can't have any of that stuff, like he has to just chill, man. And he gets really sad if we put him in his crate and things like that. He gets really sad. It sucks, he gets sad. I don't want him to be sad, but it's just, it has to be done. It has to be done. Like, he needs to chill the fuck out. He's energetic because he's still young in it, yeah.
In Nusayrat, they're running to the site.
Not like an enclosed, same way, kennel work, not like an enclosed crate. Like, this guy has had 2 major surgeries, Matt, so we have to put him in, an enclosed cage. He has to have his, thing on, on his neck, his lampshade thing. It all needs to be on. He's not in a good place right now. We're not out of the woods. My pup had a slip disc. Yeah. Shit, man. Even a name like Ginger tells me he loves zoomies. Oh, yeah. Cone of shame. Yeah, exactly, Angela. Yes, quiet is best for now. He just needs to chill the fuck out, heal, and then we can start doing all of those things. Like going on big walks. For now, just piss, shit, rest, eat. Like, that's it. The flexible cone is comfy AF. Yeah. They don't understand that they need rest. Yeah. The upside of Ginger being young is that they heal better and faster. Absolutely. Yeah. He's recovered. He's recovering very well. Okay, guys. This one is Inside Gaza, the reality 1 week after the ceasefire deal. It was released a day ago by Sky News. Let's listen in. Let's listen in, everybody. Let's listen in. This is important.
Friday night in Gaza, the 31st of July. Only hours before, the US had announced plans for the 2nd phase of the ceasefire, calling it a historic breakthrough.
On Friday, Fighter.
Here in Nusayrat, they're running to the site of another Israeli airstrike. The air is thick with the dust and the debris of the explosion. The ceasefire was agreed last October, but Israeli strikes have continued. The Gaza Health Ministry says that at least 1,250 people have been killed in that time. This was the scene the next day. 2 years of fighting left Gaza in ruins and Palestinians longing for a ceasefire.
Oh my gosh, dear.
Now it has come. Many see it simply as a continuation of the war, albeit at a lower intensity.
As you can see, this is the ceasefire. Destruction, ruined homes and people being displaced. This is what we have endured from the Jews.
They fooled us with this truce. Who agreed to this truce? Truce, truce, truce. Where is the truce? They killed us.
Many of the strikes take place in broad daylight. This car was targeted on a busy street in Gaza City.
We say very clearly that the other side does not hesitate to strike any location if it believes doing so will achieve its intended objective.
Even in the bloody wreckage, there are things worth salvaging. Access to food has improved with the ceasefire, but the residents of Gaza remain almost entirely dependent on aid kitchens. But that aid can be unreliable, with some agencies having to scale back periodically over issues with funding, security, and supply.
Yeah, that Dave Rubin guy seems like a complete nutbag, honestly.
One of the conditions of the next stage of the ceasefire is that Israel withdraws from its positions in Gaza. Those positions are known as the Yellow Line, and they're marked out physically by these blocks. The thing is, the line keeps moving, forwards, further into Gaza. Every time it does, families have to leave their homes, taking whatever they can.
They have turned people's lives upside down. Anyone who still even had 1% hope of returning to this place has now lost that hope. Whether people still have belongings here or not, they are leaving. Where are we supposed to go? The situation here has become unbearable.
And there is another, more permanent division. Beyond the temporary Yellow Line, even deeper into Palestinian territory, analysis by Sky's data and forensics team shows that Israel has been building berms, mounds of earth, to further separate the territory. The Israeli military told us the IDF's defensive posture in the area includes a security zone, a physical barrier, intelligence capabilities, technological means, and operational activity by IDF troops. These measures are intended to prevent infiltrations and hostile activity, and to protect both the troops and surrounding communities. When Hamas said it would disarm last week, it was hailed as a breakthrough, but it will only do so if Israel withdraws. And Israel says it will not pull out until Hamas disarms. The ceasefire is a stalemate.
Nothing has changed since the ceasefire was announced, because nothing has changed on the ground. The blockade remains the same. Supplies have stopped, everything has stopped. Targeted killings continue, and there is still gunfire. Nothing has changed.
And there is little to suggest that it will soon. However positive the negotiations, however historic the breakthroughs, Gaza is caught in a loop, stuck in time. Tom Cheshire, Sky News, Jerusalem.
And here is the guy from the Board of Peace, the guy who runs the Board of Peace. His name is Nikolai Mladenov, High Representative for the Gaza Board of Peace, told Israel's Channel 12 that Israeli forces would begin a phased withdrawal only after all weapons in Gaza, including heavy, light, police, and personal arms, are surrendered and rendered unusable. Like, this is like going back on their word. This is insane. Why would anybody do that, man? Like, Israel is going to go in and fuck people up. It's stupid. Like, why would anybody agree to this?
Nikolai Mladenov, Director General of the Board of Peace, thanks for this exclusive interview.
Thank you.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has just announced that Israel rejects the 15-point roadmap. What's your reaction?
The roadmap is a document between the Board of Peace, led by U.S. President Trump, and Hamas. Its goal is to make sure that Gaza is never again a threat to Israeli security. That would happen before October 7th never happens again. We're continuing our discussions on this, and I hope that these discussions will lead to a positive outcome.
Did he say what happened before October the 7th never happens again? Like, before October the 7th? Like, what does he mean by that? The, you know, mowing the lawn, all of those sorts of things? Because, yeah, that's pretty good if that's the case. But that's not what he's talking about.
For everyone. That is based on three very important elements. Firstly, the full decommissioning of weapons in Gaza, all weapons, those that are in the hands of the police, those that are in the hands of the armed factions, the militias, heavy weapons, tunnels, production facilities, Hamas, everybody. Secondly, it is based on the Board of Peace through the National Committee taking over the governance of Gaza. It requires reconstruction. And one actually last point, the presence of an international security force.
Yeah, remember how the Chuds told us over and over that all Hamas had to do was release the hostages and Israel would stop the war immediately? Yeah. And now they've moved the goalposts to Hamas giving up their weapons. And then they'll move the goalposts to a one-state solution with Israel continuing the apartheid. You know, like they'll keep moving. They don't give a fuck, bro. Ultimately, these Chuds, what they want is the continuation of Western domination, and they want to see white supremacy be the dominant ideology. They want to continue to see that. And the thing is, it's not just the Chuds doing this. There are brown and fucking black people doing Chuddism. They're following this shit. They're getting behind the Chuds. They're like, oh, shit, okay, yep, Islam, bad. It's so idiotic, bro. They keep moving the goalposts. Do you think they'll care that if the ICJ says that this is a genocide? They won't. They'll just say the ICJ, no one trusts the ICJ anymore. This is how they do it. This is how they move the line. This is why Iran is not budging on its demands. Because Iran knows if Iran makes a single compromise, America and all global institutions, including Europe, are going to try and get more concessions. This is what's going to happen. This is how the West negotiates.
That will guarantee that this process will move forward.
So let me ask it straightforward. Is Israel required to withdraw before Hamas is fully disarmed?
Nobody is required to do anything. Last of all, Israel, before we actually have verified steps on the ground. If there is verified decommissioning of weapons, that they are taken away from the factions and stored and ultimately rendered unusable, Israel then withdraws from Gaza.
Is there going to be an Israeli withdrawal from parts of Gaza before Hamas is fully demilitarized?
Look, Israel is currently at the yellow line, correct? That is where its troops are. What we are asking is that the IDF do not position troops further from the yellow line, because the yellow line was agreed under the comprehensive plan. And actually, currently, they don't have troops beyond the yellow line. So we would like them to stay at those positions and to make sure that they do not shoot across at people unless there is a real threat to the Israeli soldiers coming to them. This is the situation where we are. And the yellow line, obviously, will move further back once there is decommissioning in Gaza. Once each sector is decommissioned and the weapons are certified that they have been taken over and stored by the NCAC, the Board of Peace, and rendered unused, then Israel is required to move back progressively, step by step, in stages, to the ultimately to the fence of Gaza.
Just to clarify,
I suppose the U.S. could try to invade the Netherlands if it wants to bite off even more than it can chew. Yeah. If that happens, Dane, see how quickly fucking Article 5 of the NATO Charter changes. Just like if America wants to take Greenland, Article 5 will be super flexible when that happens.
By using the term sector, you mean geographical sectors, or after the tunnels, Israel is going to withdraw half a kilometer, and after the Kalashnikov are handed over another half?
I mean sector by sector in geographical terms. None of the plan that we're preparing limits Israel's options to react to a threat if it's imminent and if it's really endangering its troops.
Absolutely. But what happens if Israel recognizes, if Israel stops the killing in Gaza, but then it recognizes that Hamas terrorists are still being trained and that weapons are being assembled, is Israel allowed to act according to the roadmap?
If commitments are not being met, the process stops.
Okay.
So if
I
the
see.
next stage commitments are not being met, then we do not
It stops.
progress to the next stage.
Why is the weapon to be held in warehouses inside the Gaza Strip? Hamas will always be one wall away from rearming itself. Why won't you order to take it out from the Gaza Strip?
They have to be rendered unusable. That can be done, and it needs to be done by the Board of Peace's National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, with support from the international security forces.
And how about the tunnels? Because the IDF is not to actually deal with destroying the tunnels. So who is going to do this?
It will take more than a decade to destroy all of these tunnels. So what the Board of Peace is actually looking at is contracting machines, other contractors who can actually do this work.
So it's going to take more than a decade.
Well, at the current rate, and that's why actually Israel needs the Board of Peace, because with the Board of Peace together, it can be done much quicker and much more effectively.
What does it mean, personal arms, that Gaza?
You see this, right? It's all just this is how European colonization worked. It was European colonization making up fucking rules and doing whatever it wanted to make sure that the people that Europe was oppressing couldn't react to anything. This is white supremacy in action. They're trying to completely make the people who are being oppressed, try to make them completely indefensible. Like that's what this whole thing is about. There is nothing here that is just according to international law. This is just rewriting international law as it goes. This is rewriting of all of the rules of war, rules of international law, rules of occupation. They're all being rewritten in front of your eyes. And this is what the West is going to impose on everybody. Not just America, the West. The West is going to impose this on everybody. It's going to make this the doctrine for the global South. This is just bullshit white supremacy. It's stupid. This is European colonization 101.
Are allowed to actually possess, because we are quite worried, we Israelis, that Kalashnikov rifles might be considered personal arms as well. And Gaza is controlled by Kalashnikov rifles.
You shouldn't be concerned about that, because the framework actually covers all weapons. It covers heavy weapons. It covers...
How can they sit there so calmly and make plans to take over people's homes and land? This is what white supremacy did to the world. It made white people the rule makers. It made everybody else not human. They don't see Palestinians as human beings. That's how this can happen. It's like when the Amazonian forests get completely felled, they don't see the animals that live there as deserving of space. It's the complete, in this case, it's the complete dehumanization. And in the case of the Amazon rainforest, it's the complete lack of giving a fuck about nature. They have dehumanized the Palestinians so much that they make plans like this in the open. That's how it works.
Tunnels, production facilities. It covers weapons by the factions, the militias, and of course it covers personal weapons. But from the governance perspective of Gaza, the Kalashnikovs, as you said, this is what power is wielded with. And that is why if we don't regulate that and if we don't put that in the hands of the transitional authority, we wouldn't be achieving much. So yes, they're fully covered under the framework.
How about Turkey and Qatar? Many Israelis are worried by the presence of those very anti-Israeli countries inside Gaza.
I know they are. My experience over the last 8 months is that if it wasn't for Egypt and for the other mediators, Turkey and Qatar,
you know, all of this is going to make people be like, oh, see how Israel controls everything? Guys, this is America throwing its weight around. This is America. This is American imperialism. This is a country, America, the bastard child of European colonization, doing what its own parents taught it to do. This is the same playbook. America is using all of its power and leverage to keep the West dominant, to continue to maintain status quo. None of this is like Zionist controlling stuff. This is just America. This is just white supremacy. This is a continuation of a 600-year-old project.
We would have not been able to get to a position in which Hamas would agree to the roadmap. Their contribution has really been critical to this. We'll establish a verification mechanism to make sure that the steps that have been agreed in the roadmap in Gaza are being implemented. And that verification mechanism will obviously include the mediators, but it will be American-led. It will be...
Every black and brown person's ancestors went through this shit, bro, in the world. They had to listen to these fucking white people make plans about our future. This is what white supremacy is.
It will include the ISF. It will include the American military. We have full support from Saudi Arabia. We have full support from the United Arab Emirates, from Kuwait, from all the other countries in the Gulf, from Morocco, very clearly, who are sending troops on the ground. So really, I don't think here Israel has anything to be concerned about in this process.
But having Turkey and Qatar in the process of dismantling Hamas is basically letting the fox guard the henhouse, isn't it?
Is there a difference between Israel and America? They seem to be joined at the hip. Israel is America. Israel is the West. Europe continues to be the largest trading partner of Israel, with Israel. The largest trading partner. None of these countries have taken any action against Israel. It's all been words, and it's all been a war of attrition. They're all playing the same. They're all reading from the same playbook. 600-year-old playbook. It's land theft. It's theft of indigenous land and theft of resources. It's theft of indigenous labor. It's the colonization, European colonization playbook. It continues today. There's no difference. None of these motherfuckers should be making plans for Palestinians. Palestinians should be making plans for Palestine, not these fucking decrepit white men from the West.
No.
Because of a fox?
If you use that, is not going to be guarded by a fox. It is going to be guarded by the International Security Force. It is going to be guarded by the Board of Peace and its institutions. Because certainly, look, both Israelis and the people in Gaza have one shared strong...
Both Israelis and the people in Gaza. Notice, they're not even saying the word Palestinians. They're trying to wipe out the word Palestinians from our vocabulary. They won't even say the word Palestinians, folks. The people in Gaza, they're even calling them Gazans. Just note how they systematically wipe out identity. This is how white supremacy has worked for hundreds of years. It's about wiping out identity and whitewashing history.
Interest. And that is to get out of this horrible cycle of violence that has cost so many lives and destruction to both sides. Now, Honestly, if I have to speak to the devil, I will speak to the devil to make sure that that happens and that we do not allow another October 7th to occur. That is the basic premise on which we all operate.
Do you really believe Hamas will end up disarming itself? Isn't it too good to be true?
I'm not building any of this on the basis of trust. And none of us are. And we're very clear-eyed about the risks going forward. However, we're building it on verification. And this is pretty much the basic premise which I would like both sides to really trust, that because of the verification process, we actually have a chance. If it doesn't work, the process stops.
So can you, Nikolai Mladenov, look at the eyes of the survivors from the communities around Gaza of October 7th massacre and say, it will never happen again if you adopt my principles?
And what happened on October 7th will never, ever be allowed to happen as long as we have a full implementation of the Board of Peace's plan. If we end up with arguments about this and that and delaying tactics, and I can assure you then, the only alternative then is another process of rearming of Hamas and increasing the risk of another October 7th. But the option that we are offering today is the only way that we move forward that guarantees that this tragedy will not occur again.
Because there is a consensus in Israel. Everyone is against it. Netanyahu is against it. Lieberman, Bennett, Eisenkot, everyone. What don't they understand?
I think what many in Israel don't understand is that they believe that we have based this whole plan on trust. But the only way that we do this is if we all agree that nothing happens on trust and everything needs to be verified and everything needs to be done in a step-by-step approach.
Mr. Mladenov, thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's totally enraging. I hate it. I hate all of it. I hate all of it. None of it should stand. I just feel like Europe, America, Canada, the G7, it's all showing its face. The project is very clear. It's continue to maintain Western power. All right, let's talk about Ukraine just for a second. Zelensky is now pleading for more surface to air missiles after Russia's latest attack. And surface to air missiles are running out in America as well. And I think the front lines in Ukraine are starting to show cracks. It's a rough time for Ukraine as well.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has issued a fresh plea for more US-made Patriot interceptor missiles following the latest round of Russian attacks. 4 people, including a child, were killed in strikes on Kyiv and the surrounding region, just days after 21 people were killed.
You see how there are no qualifiers when reporting on Ukraine? They don't say like the Ukrainian Health Ministry says or whatever. They just report it, because that's how you should do it. And they clearly state Russian airstrikes.
Killed in Russian attacks. Mr. Zelensky, who's been in Belgrade meeting with Serbian President Alexander Vučić, says Ukraine has agreed with the US on monthly supplies of anti-ballistic missile systems, but more is needed.
First of all, who has anti-ballistic missiles and a system? The manufacturer is the United States of America. Can they help? We're working on it. Will they supply us with missiles every month? Yes, we have agreements in place. Are these missiles enough? No.
Well, Professor of Political Science from Penn State, Barron in the United States, Lina Shuzhenko-Haned, says that the surface-to-air interceptor missiles are significant in the war.
As we have seen in the latest attack on Kyiv, for instance, and just all over Ukraine, really, Russia is deliberately using more of the not so much drones, but really their ammunition, the heavy ammunition, the And without them, without this defense system, it's going to be very difficult for Ukraine to combat them.
America's running out of missiles. I don't think Noisy saw puppy kisses. Oh no, I didn't. What happened? Oh, scary! Thank you for the puppy kisses. I thought Trump was against giving Ukraine weapons. Yeah, he is. He hates it, but I think he will give it weapons. But yeah, there's definitely new strains. There's a straining relationship. Sorry. Let's understand more. Folks, don't forget, on both TikTok, Twitch, on YouTube, etc., smash the like button, share the live. If you haven't got your Heart Me yet on TikTok, get your Heart Me. Do all of those things and get more people in here. Get in, folks. What are you doing? Get the fuck in here.
We're going to bring in Missy Ryan. She's a staff writer at The Atlantic who covers defense and the State Department, and she writes about it in her new piece, Ukraine's Short-Lived Comeback. All right, Missy, it's nice to see you. That's not the most positive sounding title. It did seem like there was this big sea change. We had this nice meeting.
Welcome. Hope you stick around and hit that follow button. Zach Chap. Hello, Zach Chap. Let's listen to my shitty drum and bass music. Dubstep. Oh, we got Zach Chap, everybody!
Consciousness.
Hey, Zach Chap. How are you, sir? Hopefully you had a great
Free
life.
Palestine.
I was loving... I was loving just chilling to your live last night. That was really cool. Very chill. Thank you so much for all the work you do. And everyone in chat should absolutely follow Zach Chap. Get in. Zach Chap has such a great community. He is an incredible educator. And I'm hoping to do some collabs with Zach Chap because he's awesome. I don't know what yet, but definitely something educational. But Zach Chat, are Australians and New Zealanders allowed to be in the same stream? It's questionable. It's questionable. It's questionable. Oh dear. Thank you so much, Zach Chat. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Sit back, relax. Today, we're going through updates on various war fronts. We'll be going through some of the climate disaster news, some economic news, and we're going to end with some... I'm upside down, whereas Noisy is on a 45-degree angle. And we'll end with some racism, weirdly. We'll end with racism. It's a fun show today. Welcome.
Meeting at this summit in Turkey. The vibes were good. We had all these formerly anti-Ukraine right-wing kind of bloggers, including Lara Loomer, change their minds. Some visited Ukraine. We're all saying, you know, the president needs to get on board. We had this promise of patriots, and then it all just kind of went away. Do we know what happened?
Yeah, so it really is a remarkable comeback story that Ukraine has. Everybody remembers that train wreck of a meeting that President Zelensky had with Donald Trump in the Oval Office in February 2025, where the Ukrainians were asked to leave.
This just did. Noisy hates Dane the Aussie. Oh, nah, mate.
They insulted each other. It was very ugly. That represented a real low point early in the Trump administration, and this kind of stunning reality check for the Ukrainians who had had so much American support behind them since the beginning of the war. But they really did manage to claw their way back and make a successful argument to the Trump administration that they could deliver things in U.S. interests, like, for example, providing drone technology that the United States didn't have, valuable expertise that they had gained on the battlefield. And most of all, they actually could sell themselves as winners, basically being able to block the Russian advance on the front, kind of change.
So Russia has reported that it's captured 2 more villages again on the front line, in quite a hotly contested part of the front line. So I saw that yesterday. So I think there are some cracks emerging on the front lines, on the Ukrainian front lines. So I think it's not going to be too long before shit hits the fan, honestly. I think that it's either now or never for America to get in. Hey, Old Owl Hooten.
The battlefield equation in their favor, and everybody knows that Donald Trump loves a winner. So by the time the pair met in Ankara for the NATO summit this summer, Trump really seemed much more pro-Ukraine than he ever had, and he made this very important promise to allow Ukraine to acquire a license to manufacture Patriot missiles, which were these air defense missiles that Ukraine desperately needs. And so we kind of tell the story of that and how that was really this ephemeral, fleeting high point that Ukraine had. It didn't last for very long. It turns out that Trump doesn't seem like he's going to fulfill that promise that he made. Zelensky is now facing more political problems at home. The ambassador.
So here's the report from Al Jazeera 15 hours ago. Russian forces have taken control of the villages of Vasyutinsk and Toretsk in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region. The state-run RIA news agency reports, citing the Russian Defense Ministry. Hey, Mama Sunshine, thank you so much for the silver stars. Thank you. Welcome in. So Russia is starting to break through those front lines. There's these developments are actually pretty big because Russia was kind of stuck, I would say. Russia was being thwarted pretty well by Ukraine. But man, if they're starting to make headway again, things could fall apart pretty quickly, especially with September coming up and Russia planning a massive offensive. Things could really get nasty.
Ambassador here in Washington left because she was facing corruption problems. He had to dismiss several ministers. People were upset about that. And then, maybe most importantly, the reality of the battlefield is very difficult. There was a big airstrike last week where Ukraine was not able to shoot down any of the ballistic missiles that Russia fired at Kyiv and surrounding areas, and 17 people died. And so that's a real scary harbinger of a dire future for Ukraine if they can't get these air defense supplies that they need.
28 missiles in total. Missy, a theme of the piece, I think, is that personnel is policy here. And we've seen President Zelensky kind of go through this reinvention vis-a-vis his relationship with President Trump. But I want to go back to someone you mentioned, that is the now former ambassador of Ukraine to the U.S. And she, in your piece, talked about the moment of recognition she had at that first disastrous Oval Office meeting when she recognized that Ukraine's overtures weren't calibrated correctly to this administration. And you mentioned the kind of personnel changeover that we've seen in Kyiv in recent weeks. What should we make of that? I think that there was a school of thought among some experts.
Doggy hugs for Ginger. Oh, thank you, Ivy. Thank you. Russia has got help from North Korea now, and that's a game changer. I think Russia's had help from North Korea for a couple of years now, because we looked at North Korea's income. There was some analysis done about North Korea's income right after the war in Ukraine started. Right after that, maybe a year after, North Korea's revenue intake just grew a lot. So North Korea is definitely gaining a lot right now.
That we've seen this over the course of the war, that President Zelensky has kind of cleaned house or made adjustments to the cabinet. But it does seem, in terms of the response to it, the popular protest that rose as a result of that there's something different this time around. So yes, there's the dynamic between Zelensky and Trump, but there's something broader at play here about his kind of hold-on strategy when it comes to this war at this particular.
The family is really good. Ginger has been getting better every day. He's still obviously in quite a tough place. So just healing, really. How are you, Perky?
Moment.
Yeah, I mean, as everyone, as the viewers will know, Zelensky has had a remarkable run. He has.
I want to be a good boy.
The kind of support that Donald Trump would really dream of, given that he's overdue for elections. But Ukrainians have shown themselves very willing to make their feelings known, to go out in the streets and protest. And that's what happened when Zelensky dismissed this very popular defense minister, Fedorov. And so it's a balancing act. He's trying to calibrate for the battlefield requirements. He's trying to make sure that corruption, which Ukraine has a long history with, is managed. And so he's got a very difficult task, keeping the United States and the Europeans on board. But as the war goes on and Ukrainians grow more and more fatigued, and most importantly, as he maybe proves unable to keep them safe in their homes over the coming winter with the air defense shortage, and then we're going to see what happens with attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure over the winter, that makes the stakes that much higher for Zelensky.
When it comes to that air defense issue, it seems to me the defense minister seems to have played a crucial role there, because you talk about in your piece how Fedorov was the one who kind of established the relationship with Elon Musk and had to step out of his children's birthday party because Musk finally called him back to get him on the phone to get permission for them to use Starlink over Ukraine. And that's one of the ways, in lieu of these Patriots, that they've been able to have some air defenses. Ukraine is now asking Musk to let them use Starlink over Russia to help that targeting. It doesn't seem like that relationship is there, and possibly the dismissal of this defense minister has made that even less likely.
Yeah, that's true. And the request for the guidance systems to be used over Russia was news that we broke last week.
Oh my gosh. You had an appendix surgery? Oh, I'm glad you're recovering. Glad you're healing up. Good on you, Pecky.
Week. It's interesting. It does show, as you said earlier, that personnel is policy. It also, I think, is an interesting illustration of the informal.
I can't even hear the word Musk without wanting to vomit. Yuck. So read and rap. I just want to test this out. Musk.
Thank you, friends.
Unorthodox way that business is done these days in the United States and in Ukraine, with billionaires from the outside, really making these consequential decisions for public life, for government, and all of that. So, Fedorov did have this relationship. It's unclear whether Musk was ever going to grant this, and I guess there's some possibility that he still could. But the Starlink technology is crucial for Ukraine, and it just shows that the stakes for the decisions from these outside actors are really.
She said stakes. Is she talking about Trump stakes?
They don't know what the they're doing.
It can't be overstated. There is some possibility that kind of Plan B things that that Ukraine could do.
Did she mean the United States?
The Pentagon has its own version of Starlink that's licensed to it. It's not clear whether they would ever themselves be willing to take that decision. There are some proposals from outside people about other military means that they could use to staunch the air defense problem, essentially.
Hearing you.
Dane on YouTube is asking, is Musk the new Moist? Oh my gosh.
Say this, I'm reminded of what we talked about with Evan Osnos yesterday of the New Yorker about the kind of dynamic between the U.S. and China, that it's not kind of a great power struggle so much as it's a struggle between oligarchic men, small groups of oligarchic men who are figuring all of this out in real time.
Our son still calls it Dark Vader, and he's adamant about the fact that the name is Dark Vader and not Darth Vader. I think he's just going to call Darth Vader Dark Vader for the rest of his life. And I don't mind it. He's got a good reason for it. As long as he's got a good reason for it, I don't mind it. His reason is that Darth Vader wears dark clothes. So he's just Dark Vader now.
Missy Ryan, Christina mentioned at the top here this TASS reporting that maybe Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff could be headed to Kyiv. I mean, I was astonished reading that report that they hadn't been there before. I think a lot of people will be surprised by that as well. It makes me wonder just about the faith that President Zelensky and his team have in there being a kind of constructive conversation about a path forward here when it comes to diplomacy. Yes, these two men, son-in-law and friend of the president, are incredibly busy and in a variety of geographies, seemingly all at once here. But does President Zelensky feel like he has a line of communication or the commitment from this administration to kind of see through a diplomatic solution?
You like Dark Vader better? Nice.
They do in some ways, but it has been a one-sided situation from the beginning vis-a-vis Russia and Ukraine. You had Witkoff, and Witkoff's made 8 visits to Moscow since becoming special envoy. He's made 0 to Kyiv. And you had this other envoy, Keith Kellogg, at the beginning.
So, yeah, I mean, this is a lot of ranting, but look, this moment right here is the West's resistance to a multipolar world. The signal the West is sending the rest of the world right now is it is not ready to give up what it has built for 600 years of colonization, land theft, and just, criminality, general criminality. That is what the West is signaling. Whether it has the capability of continuing to maintain that power is the question. America is going to have to step up. America is going to have to step up to continue to maintain white supremacy and European colonization and just the West in general. Because this is what the front lines are now, is about Western hegemony remaining the way it is. It's about maintaining status quo. Ukraine-Russia is about Europe trying to maintain its buffer zone between Russia and Europe. The genocide of the Palestinians is about continuing to strengthen Western domination in the Middle East. And U.S., Israel, and Iran, that war is about weakening Iran so that the West can continue dominating in the Middle East. Everything that's happening in Latin America is about removing China from from being embedded in any Latin American nation. The Panama Canal has become a point of conflict. Venezuela, all of Latin America now is going right-wing. It's the new Monroe Doctrine, the Donroe Doctrine. And what we're seeing starting to bubble up to the surface in the South China Sea is, again, the West trying to maintain its outposts. South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. I just think right now, these are the front lines, and it is about a 600-year-old project that is still very much alive today, being challenged by the global South. And that's what we are witnessing here. A battle of the West versus a multipolar world. The West wants to continue to maintain domination, whereas the world is starting to develop across the board after white supremacy ripped so much away from so many. So, and continues to do so today. And instead of encouraging that development, the West is cracking down and trying to impart its power everywhere. This is why Europe is not sanctioning Israel. This is why Europe does not want Ukraine to stop fighting. This is why America continues to back Israel, even though there is so much evidence of Israel's genocide. This is why political protection, political cover is being provided by the West to Israel in every way possible. At the ICC, at the ICJ, in all arenas of the world, the West is protecting Israel in order to continue doing what it's doing. And the West is continuing to support Ukraine's war against Russia because the West wants a perpetual war with Ukraine. They're throwing Ukrainian bodies at their Russia problem. They want Ukraine to continue to fight in order to weaken Russia. They're using Ukraine and Ukrainians as human shields. And the one power that hasn't directly entered any of this fighting yet, the one big power, the second biggest power, is China on the front lines. China hasn't entered any of these arenas on the front lines. Where that may happen, and if it does, I believe we are in a world war, is Taiwan. If China truly thinks that it needs Taiwan, and goes for Taiwan, then we are in a world war. So, for me, 2 boxes are ticked so far in my world war prediction. And then those 2 boxes are Israel-Iran, or Israel-US-Iran now, Ukraine-Russia, and the box still to be ticked is China and Taiwan. And every day that goes by, who knows? It may not be China that attacks Taiwan. With the announcement of China now building those lithography machines, it might be the West attacking China. Because China is getting too far ahead. Or at least China isn't too far behind what the West sees as its main advantages. Who knows? But there's definitely a lot of fragility in the West at the moment, and we're seeing that manifest itself in so many different ways. And unfortunately, Ukraine will pay the price no matter what. Whether the West continues to support Ukraine or Russia breaks the front lines, Ukrainians will pay the price. Because right now, they're human shields against Russia. If Russia breaks through and the West starts to feel like Ukraine can't hold on anymore, the West will completely stop supporting. It's a horrible feeling. It must be a horrible feeling to be a Ukrainian right now. I do not. It must be a horrible feeling to know that fact is that the West is only supporting Ukraine because right now Ukraine is throwing bodies at Russia. Anyway, it's fucking sick. Let's listen to Fareed Zakaria because I always like listening to this house curry. Hey, and maybe Complainy Laney thinks I'm racist against brown people because I use the term house curry. You know, bro, guys, by the way, that's not racist against brown people. I've been called, while I was growing up in Aotearoa, New Zealand, I was called a curry muncher, a lot. I was called a curry muncher a lot. Calling other Indians who submit to power house curries is reclaiming the word curry. Okay? So that's not racism. That is very much like black people using the N-word within their own communities. It's about taking back a word that was used as a derogatory term against me. That's not racism against the Browns, you know? But Fareed Zakaria is a house curry, no doubt. It's racist if you're white and say it. That's why I don't repeat it. Yeah, it is racist if you're white and say it. Just don't say it if you're white. I'm going to say it because I feel like these people need to understand what the hell they're doing. I too have been called the muncher. Hyderabadi, rise up. I love it. Us black folks have the same thing with house slave. Talking about black folk who capitulate to American exceptionalism. Yeah, exactly. Like Indian people we're full of these fucking people, man. Fareed Zakaria is no different. He loves to bat for white supremacy. Loves it. He loves it. He loves to be on team white supremacy. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Even people who dislike Donald Trump tend to give him credit for one thing: getting NATO to pay its fair share.
Oh, thank you, Bobby.
American presidents have long grumbled about burden sharing. Trump has been crude, theatrical, and transactional, but the sentiment he expressed was broadly shared.
I appreciate that,
and
Bobby.
Europeans got the message. Non-American NATO countries spent 1.4% of GDP on defense in 2014. In 2025, it was close to 2.3%.
Did you hear what he said? Let's just start that again. Just listen to what this guy is saying.
Even people who dislike Donald Trump tend to give him credit for one thing: getting NATO to pay its fair share.
No, bro. Fuck. I dislike Donald Trump even though he did that. I just dislike white supremacy as a whole. You know, you just like your version of it.
American presidents have long grumbled about burden sharing. Trump has been crude, theatrical, and transactional, but the sentiment he expressed was broadly shared, and Europeans got the message. Non-American NATO countries spent 1.4% of GDP on defense in 2014. In 2025, it was close to 2.3%. But be careful what you wish for. The usual assumption is that if Europe spends more, America will spend less. This is demonstrably wrong. European defense spending is at its highest level in decades. Yet Donald Trump has proposed a staggering $1.5 trillion defense budget for fiscal 2027. American defense spending has never been determined by the needs of NATO. It reflects America's role as a global superpower with bases, fleets, and commitments across the world. Washington wants to deter Russia, counter China, project power in the Middle East, protect global sea lanes, defend the homeland, maintain nuclear superiority, dominate space, lead in drones and artificial intelligence, and preserve the ability to fight far from home.
Okay, let's look at all of those things. Okay? I'm good, thank you, Kelly. I'm good. I'm doing well. How are you? America's many military goals. These are all military, by the way. Military goals. Deter Russia. Counter China. Counter China is a military goal. Crazy. Project power in the Middle East. Project power in the Middle East. Protect global sea lanes. Okay, I want you to think about something here. Hey, Robbie. He makes a very important distinction. He isn't calling this Trump's many military goals. He's calling it America's many military goals. Not Trump's, America's. So this is what Fareed Zakaria, the American house curry, feels is America's many military goals. This is American imperialism. This is not about Trump. This is about America. This is you, America. He is talking about America as a whole here. Deter Russia. Counter China. Project power in the Middle East. Protect global sea lanes from... Wait, protect global sea lanes? Why is America protecting global sea lanes? Who the fuck asked America to do that? Hey, not the one. Who asked America to do that? Defend the homeland. Maintain nuclear superiority. Dominate space. Guys, dominate space. America wants to dominate space. Lead in drones and AI. Preserve the ability to fight far from home. Why? Why preserve the ability to fight far from home? Why? If the point is to defend the homeland, why do this? You got to understand, this isn't Trump's many military goals. Because if it was, Fareed Zakaria would have said it that way. He made the distinction. It's not just about Donald Trump. This is what America is. This is what America is about. All of these points are about America, not just Trump. Whether it's blue, whether it's red, they all represent this list. He's right. He's right. I agree with him. This is what America represents.
In fact, the International Institute for Strategic Studies calculated in 2018 that direct spending on defense in Europe made up only about 5% of America's total defense spending. As Europe's spending increases, the continent will become less dependent on America and therefore less deferential to it. For more than 75 years, America's dominance within NATO has given Washington enormous advantages. The U.S. has over 30 military bases across Europe, and these have allowed it...
You see how he doesn't question whether this is right or wrong? To him, everything America, to Fareed Zakaria, everything America does is right. especially overseas. Its foreign policy is about maintaining American imperialism. He never ever questions whether all of this stuff that America has done is right or wrong. Like, why is it that America is the one protecting sea lanes? Who the fuck asked America?
To project power not just in Europe, but in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. U.S. operations in the Middle East, including the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and more recently with Iran, have depended heavily on access, basing, and overflight rights in Europe. Often NATO countries have allowed the U.S. to use its facilities even when they disagreed with the war being waged. But as Europeans see that America is unreliable or even hostile, they will feel less need to accommodate Washington. The U.S. has assumed that its allies will always line up behind its broader strategy, including its economic campaigns. But as Celeste Wallander writes in Foreign Affairs, Europe already has its own interests and tools. It holds much of Russia's frozen assets. It has its own sanctions on Russian shipping, finance, and technology. It is home to SWIFT, the payment system whose exclusion of major Russian banks has been so important. If Washington wants to relax pressure on Moscow in a bargain with Vladimir Putin, Europe may refuse. If Washington wants to intensify pressure on Iran or China, Europe may hesitate. Then there's the issue of weapons. One of the hidden benefits of American leadership in NATO has been that Europeans buy American arms. They have bought F-35s, HIMARS.
A benefit is the military-industrial complex. This is what liberalism is, guys. This is liberal politics. Liberals aren't pissed off that Iran is being bombed. Liberals are pissed off that Trump is losing. Liberals aren't pissed off by war. Liberals in America care that they're losing these wars. That's the difference between liberalism and leftism, is we are anti-war. Americans, liberals in particular, are like this. They see military power the way America has, that imperialist structure, as the thing that keeps America at high standing in the world. Liberals agree on that. They agree across the board. Libs will agree with that. Blue MAGA, exactly. Hey, Deb, welcome. Hey, Trey. But this is the thing, right? Like, are you surprised that Fareed Zakaria is like pro-American imperialism? Fareed Zakaria is all for American militarism. He is.
Patriots, P-8 aircraft, and many other systems, not simply because they're good, but because they bind Europe to the United States. Common equipment makes joint operations easier. It also reassures frontline states that American troops will remain engaged. But European officials now speak openly of the need to reduce dependence on American hardware. They fear that the Trump administration could in the future withhold software upgrades, spare parts, or operational support. When Denmark has to worry about an American president threatening Greenland, it will think thrice before buying its next generation of weapons from the United States. For American defense companies, this could be a major loss. For American strategy, it could be larger still. Weapon sales are not just commercial transactions. They create habits of cooperation and shared strategy. There is a final danger. We speak easily of Europe spending more, but defense budgets are still national, and most European governments are broke. As Liana Fix notes in Foreign Affairs, the country with the greatest capacity to spend is Germany, and it is now beginning to do so on a remarkable scale. This is necessary. Germany has been too passive for too long. It is a liberal democracy.
Does he realize what happened with Germany before, like when it started spending a lot of money? This is why liberals will always lean to fascists whenever shit hits the fan. Fareed Zakaria would not mind the Fourth Reich if and only if it benefited American economy. He would love it. The Fourth Reich, bring it on. The next generation, they're still spending future defense budgets. They never want this to end. Forever was, yeah. Guys, this is what a house curry looks like. This is a house curry in the flesh. A brown man from the subcontinent whose ethnicity is from the subcontinent. From West Asia. Is that what we're calling it now? West Asia? Southeast Asia? I don't fucking know where India is, bro. It's like what's India? Is South Asia? West Asia? East Asia? Southeast Asia? This is what it floated off Africa, bro. South Central? South Central? People say Swana. I'd just say Southwest Asia for India. Okay. Southwest Asia. Let's do it. South Central Asia. I love it. So this is who Fareed Zakaria is, unfortunately. He has become part of the white supremacist system. He will sit there and he will amplify this war machine, this imperialist machine, even if the people the imperialist machine is oppressing are people who are more close to people like him than the people the people whose boots he licks. Then you have the Vedic versus Aryan versus Malayalam. West Asia is like Iran and Kazakhstan. India is a long story. Yeah. Anyway, this is why I despise this guy. I hate Fareed, but he's a good view into the horde of house curries in the U.S. Amplifying American imperialism.
Deeply embedded in Europe, and there is no reason to fear some aggressive impulse in its political DNA. But size and power matter in international politics. A Germany that spends vastly more than its neighbors will inevitably create anxiety in France, Poland, and the smaller countries around it. The genius of America's post-1945 strategy was that it solved this problem. It made it unnecessary for European countries to think and act like traditional great powers. Under the American umbrella, France and Germany did not have to balance each other.
Southwest Asia and North Africa, Swana, is supposedly the woke version of the Middle East. Actually, I've got a really good doco I think we should watch. I can't fucking stand this guy. So let's watch it because I'll literally end everything if I have to keep listening to this prick's voice. Hold on. Let me just bring it up because it was really good. I was listening to it last night, and I think a worthy listen for all of us. A worthy listen. Hold up. They don't love you like I love you. One sec, guys. Let's go here. Let's go here. Okay. Here we go. Are you going to put it up on here on TikTok? Because if not, I'm gonna go over to YouTube. I can't put it on. I can't put it up on TikTok. So this is Dr. Roy Casagrande, one of his lectures. It's really good. Because we're talking about all of this West Asia shit, I think this will be really good.
Hello everyone, good evening and hope you're all doing well and having a wonderful week. Tonight's session is about the Great Library of Alexandria, and I hope you enjoy the session. Can I please welcome Dr. Roy? Thank you.
Woo! Hi. Okay, so let me start with my outfit. Since this conversation tonight is going to be about Greek, Roman, and Egyptian cultures, because the three are going to collide, I couldn't figure out what to wear, so I decided to go with contemporary Egyptian. With cowboy boots. All right. I always find these starting so difficult, but I'm just going to start saying something and maybe a coherent thing will come out. So, like I said, it's these three cultures clash and collide and then mix and then create something new. Actually, you know what? I forgot to check. Salman, did we do the pictures? Okay, so like we can start. Okay, so at some point I'll show you some pictures and we'll resolve some things. It makes me want to talk about race. To start.
I'll check it out, all right?
That's where my mind goes, because I want to get something out of the way. There is this really weird thing we do with the Mediterranean, and it's that we've used the Mediterranean as some kind of imaginary boundary.
I see.
Okay, so this is good. This kind of helps. The Mediterranean is by no means in any way, shape, or form historically ever been a boundary. It's a superhighway that connects North Africa to Europe to Southwest Asia. That's what it's done in history. In other words, it's not like a mountain range that cuts people off. Let's hold it there for a while, because go back to the sarcophagus picture. Yes, this is a Fayum sarcophagus picture. I don't think it's actually from Fayum, but that's what we call these because I think the first ones found were from Fayum. So one of the things that happens as a result of this arbitrary imagination thing that's wrong, that says that the Mediterranean is the boundary, is it negates the fact that all the cultures in the Mediterranean are intimately, completely connected to each other, linguistically, culturally, genetically.
I love this because he's going to talk about dismantling a lot of white supremacist talking points about Europe, about how Europe is this fucking cradle of fucking civilization. Yeah, it's great.
Like even to the point where if you stood an Italian next to a Swede and then stood an Italian next to a Tunisian, the Italian is going to look more like the Tunisian than the Swede. So there's this kind of almost bizarre, weird thing that we do where somehow the Italian is a European and somehow the Tunisian isn't related to the Italian, right? So one of the reasons why I wanted to show you this. So this is a funerary mask from Egypt. Funerary masks like this were put over the top of a sarcophagus for about 300 years, mostly during the Roman period. About 62% of this lecture covers.
I reckon he looks like me. Just kidding.
Rome, because Rome owned Egypt for about 62% of this lecture. So 300 of those years, they were making funerary masks like this. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is because they answered the question that for some reason keeps getting asked, which is, who really were the Egyptians during the Greco-Roman period? Well, I don't know what you're seeing when you see that. I don't see a Swede. I'm a quarter Swedish. This isn't me attacking Swedes. I have no hatred towards Swedes. I love Swedes. I was rooting for Sweden in the World Cup because Italy wasn't in it. So they answered the question. We don't even have to ask this question. I mean, I think if you went to Egypt right now and looked around, you're going to see people who look just like this person. But archaeologists, of course, were like, well, maybe there was something wrong with the artists, because we all know that the Romans and the Greeks were white. How do we know this? Because the Greeks loved to make their statues out of white marble. And so when you look at them, you see they're really white, like dead white. Like, oh my God, I think something terrible happened to you, white. And so of course, what everybody forgets is they painted those statues. It's so long, the paint's gone. So actually they used white marble because it was easy to paint on. It wasn't because they thought of themselves as white. So archaeologists decided.
Yeah, that's a really, really important point. That's a really important point. Those statues that racists on X post as like Western culture are actually just white the way they are because the paint has washed off. They're not white. They had paint on them. It's crazy. They posted it's like, oh, look at this white statue. Oh, whiteness. So white. Get done. You see that white statue there, boy? That's what I look like. Smooth and white. White. You see that, boy? That's me right there. I tell you, uh-huh. That's white. That's where my ancestors come from. God damn it. I'm white as fucking snow.
Decided to do DNA tests to kind of figure out who those people were, who were the sort of the upper, right? Because to get a sarcophagus like this, you needed to be a fairly rich, well-to-do, connected Egyptian. It wasn't like you were just an average person. And of course, what they found was that they were mostly native Egyptians, that a lot of them had taken Greek names. They were using Greek as their
Cyrox. Stop! Someone got to remind these white supremacists that it is white tissue paper that wipes my brown ass. Oh my gosh, dude. Shelley, I don't think it's about feeling guilty. I think it's about acknowledging. I think it's about acknowledging what has been done in the name of white supremacy, and looking at the future with empathy and equity. You know, fighting for equity, using your privilege to fight for equitable outcomes for all. I don't think guilt is particularly productive, you know. That's what a lot of white people feel is guilt, and guilt turns into denial and blame and all of this sort of shit. It's unnecessary. I don't think guilt is what's needed.
Their primary language, but they were genetically mostly Egyptian. They found plenty of Greek DNA in those tombs.
How are you,
a
Shelley?
tiny
Good
hint
to
of
see you.
Roman DNA in those tombs, but it was overwhelmingly Egyptian. So I wanted to get that out of the way, in part because I want to ask a question. So first of all, everything in Egypt is the great, right? The Great Lighthouse, the Great Library, the Great Pyramid, the Great Sphinx. And if you've ever been to Egypt, you immediately know why, because as soon as you go to the first ruin, you're in shock and awe because you feel like you're this small, because Egyptian monumental construction was meant to be on the scale of gods. And by the time you're there, like when you're standing next to the Khufu Pyramid, the Great Pyramid in Giza, and you're trying to comprehend what you're looking at, you can't. You're like, your brain just goes sideways. And you find yourself thinking, is this a human-made mountain? And the answer, of course, is yes. And so one of the things that, of course, we've done is we've decided, well, aliens must have built it.
This is, we've spoken about this, the whole aliens built it arc, and how racist that is. how deeply bigoted that whole aliens built it arc is. It's crazy. He speaks about it here.
Nobody's saying, did aliens build the Eiffel Tower? Nobody's asking, did aliens build the Empire State Building, right? It's, did aliens build these things? One of the weird things about that is the ruins in Baalbek. So Baalbek has a Roman temple that is the largest known Roman temple ever built. You go to Baalbek, you feel small, like you do when you go to Egypt. The columns are 20 meters tall, and if you go to Karnak and Luxor, the columns are 20 meters tall. You get that same, like, okay, I can't quite comprehend this thing. The largest stones in the Khufu pyramid are probably about 80 tons that we know of, right? Because obviously we don't have a full understanding of what the interior of the pyramid is like. So the big ones are running between 20 and 80 tons. They're huge, massive. How could they have moved it? The big stones at Baalbek that make the platform, because the temple is actually built on a human-made mesa. The big stones at Baalbek are 1,000 tons. Not 80 tons. Which then makes me ask the question, why aren't you asking why how did the Romans build Baalbek? I mean, surely aliens must have built it. Those stones are even bigger than the pyramid ones. I mean, don't get me wrong, the pyramid in Giza is still a much more involved structure than the temple in Baalbek just because of its volume, its sheer.
What's the furthest I've traveled? Like, how do you mean? Like, when I was young, I was born in India, right? Like, we went on a trip to every city in India, to every place in every state. We did one journey, which was every state in India. My dad drove his car. And I've seen everything in India. I remember enough of it. I was like 6 or 7 years old. Like, I remember a fair bit of it. Well, not a fair bit of it. I remember the highlights. I have traveled after coming to New Zealand. I've traveled to obviously around Aotearoa. I've traveled to Europe. I've been to the UK, Amsterdam, to the Netherlands. Been to Australia. Just the cities in Australia. Nothing major. No major travel in Australia. I've been to Gabon, West Africa, on a work assignment. I've been to America. I've been to New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. I don't know. I don't know if I've traveled more than that, honestly.
Size, right? It was the tallest building on Earth until 1887. That's a long time to have that status. By the way, the Great Lighthouse was the tallest building on Earth. The pyramid was taller. So Egypt had those two titles until 1887 AD. So just over, 150 years ago. And that's a long time to have that status. One of the things I want us to start to do is reimagine the world. And one of the things that I hate is the term Middle East. I've ranted about this before.
I love this. He talks about, good you checked America off the list, no reason to come back. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, luckily it's done. I'm not going to be allowed into America. America's done for the rest of my life. I ain't going into America, everybody. America, no more. Okay, this is great. This is why I wanted you guys to watch this. Maybe after this bit, we'll pause and go through the climate stuff. But I wanted you guys to watch this because of how he describes the Middle East and why he hates it, okay? So we'll watch this bit. I think we can come back to this lecture later in the evening when I'm back. But let's just watch this bit and then move to the climate section that I had prepared.
You've probably heard me go off on this. I'm going to do it one more time. Hopefully this will be the last time. First of all, Middle East of what? For there to be a Middle East, there must be a Far East and a Near East, or a Northeast and a Southeast or something, right? There needs to be something that anchors it as the middle.
Yeah. Talk to us.
There was when the English, like Adam in the Garden of Eden, began naming everything in the world. Because that's what the British Empire was like, right? So they made a Far East, which we call East Asia today. They made a Middle East, which we call South Asia today. And they made a Near East, which we call the Middle East today.
The fuck?
Which makes the story even weirder. But then, of course, as you know, Western civilization was created on the banks of the Euphrates and the Tigris and the Nile. So how on earth can the birthplace of the West be in the middle of the East? It doesn't even make sense. It's completely illogical, because no matter what happens, once you found a civilization, it's your civilization. It's not like the Europeans came and stole Western civilization and then brought it to Europe, and now all of a sudden that meant that the civilization in Iraq and Egypt was no longer Western. But of course, that's exactly the narrative we tell ourselves. Here's how we should see this. Instead of having a Middle East and a North Africa and a South Europe, there's a Mediterranean. And I would define the Mediterranean as every country that touches the Mediterranean, or the Adriatic, or any of the seas that are clearly just the Mediterranean, plus Portugal, and then throw in Bulgaria and Romania for good measure, and the entire Middle East, including Iran and the GCC states, and even Yemen. And then I would run it into Afghanistan, because culturally, historically, that region has been intimately tied to itself for millennia, not centuries, for thousands of years. And culturally, the linkages between them make it so that to separate them, to break them down into little pieces, makes zero sense. I can't tell the history of the Great Library without talking about Greece and Rome. And I probably have to bring the Persians in at some point, because there were no boundaries like the way we think today. So to ask the question, were they white? It's just ludicrous. It doesn't even make sense. They were Mediterranean. And so that's part of where I want to start. But I want to do one more thing, which is a geography thing. There have been 3 attempts to figure out the center of the old world. So if you treat Africa, Asia, and Europe as a single landmass, you know how we took away Pluto's planet status? When are we going to do that for Europe? If you've ever looked at a map, it's pretty obvious Europe isn't a continent. It's a peninsula in Asia.
Yeah.
What's that about, actually? I've actually seen a map. A friend of mine had it. So shout out to Jess. It showed, I think it was 1700s map. It showed the boundary between Asia and Europe to be, I think it was the Indus River. So everything that we call the Middle East was in Europe, according to that map. Isn't that cool? Because when you think about it, where the boundary is now, it's just so arbitrary and random. The Ural Mountains, the Volga River, the Caucasus Mountains, and the Caspian Sea. What drunk maniac drew that line? Just so random. You could put the line literally anywhere, because it makes no geographical sense.
I think drunk maniac is a pretty good description of the person who may have come up with that idea. Knowing Europeans at that time and what they were doing to the world, drunk maniac is a pretty good description.
Oh, historical sense. Anyway, okay, so back to Asia, including the European peninsula, and Africa, treating those 2 continents as a landmass. Where's the center? There are 3 attempts to figure this out that I know of. There's probably more. Just I know.
Okay, am I the only one who loves his outfit? Boots suck, but he's making black and red work. Also, the top button is off, like he's some kind of movie star or something. Like, look at this. It's put together by a person who doesn't really care about how he looks. He's just kind of put it together based on how he thinks people dress.
Three. The first one dropped it on the border between Turkey and Iran.
It's very Pulp Fiction.
Kurdistan.
Hey, Tani.
Yeah, interesting. In the Middle East.
Turkey and Iran.
Which is weird, because it looks like it's just the middle. I don't see why it's east if it's in the middle. The second one dropped the middle on the Isthmus of Suez, which is the narrow neck where Africa and Asia touch that the Suez Canal is built on.
Yeah, I'm just me. Yeah, he's just kind of speaking to places. You're right. It would have been better if he had a map, for sure.
And it makes me wonder. The guy who created the simulation that we're a part of, the video game that each of us are playing a character in, decided to drop an Easter egg by putting the center of the world on the canal that connects Europe to Asia and East Africa. It's the trade center of the world, but it's also the literal geographical center of the old world. That just seems like a weird coincidence. The third one is freaky.
How freaky?
It's Giza.
Oh,
Giza,
shit.
Egypt. As in...
Oh, Giza! I think that was a joke, Steady Medley.
Where the Great Sphinx and the Great Pyramid are, which forces me to ask that question that nobody wants to ask. Did they know that was the center, and that's why they put those pyramids there? And then if they did know, how?
Aliens.
Or is it just another coincidence?
Aliens! Aliens, everybody! Oh, shit! It was aliens!
All right, so where I'm going to start this story...
Those aliens invading Giza.
I just want to make it clear. It can't be the Middle East if it's the middle. Where I want to start this story is 356 BC. So some of you were here 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Look, the rest of it, I think, is an incredible lecture. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes long. I think we'll listen to the rest of this in the evening. I want to talk about the climate a little bit. I think we have to talk about the climate crisis because there's so much happening. I'm just going to take a little bit of a break. I just want to go use the bathroom, and I may make myself a quick coffee. But stick around, guys. We'll go through the climate crisis, and I think we'll finish this lecture in the evening, in the next in the evening live. But stick around, everybody. I'm going to keep saying this. Here's some shitty dubstep music for all of you. Shitty dubstep.
Consciousness. Free Palestine. consciousness.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
Global consciousness.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Global consciousness. Free Palestine.
Wow, 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 wow. Let's go. All right, we're gonna do climate because it's kind of fucked right now. We need to talk about the climate. Okay, we need to talk about it.
And Federal Emergency Management Minister Eleanor.
Franz de Boer. I don't know how the Chinese
Emergency
factory
has been
thing got into this, but hold on. Okay, let's get into the fires in British Columbia.
We're in Kagan Park in Okanagan Falls. It's about a 20 or so minute drive from Penticton, where all the evacuees are situated. About a 30 to 40 minute drive from Summerland if you're taking the main highway. That is closed. But if you look around me here, still plenty of space for firefighters to set up. We have about a few dozen tents that are set up right now, and more will be on the way. As many as 300 tents are expected to be here once things get settled in. But it just goes to show how quickly this all unfolded. Wildfire fighters are coming from all over. They can't get here immediately. I understand that the people that have set up in this camp got up as early as 4:30 a.m.
so much, Kelly.
To head out to the fire line. And there's firefighters currently from the Yukon, from BC as well. They're expecting some of the Mexican wildfire fighters and even maybe some firefighters from Costa Rica to help out in this massive fight against the Bald Range wildfire. And so right now we know that these firefighters have been kind of spread out. They're still waiting for this camp to get fully operational. Some of them are in hotel rooms in Penticton and in the surrounding areas. Those rooms, as you've been hearing, were quite hard to come by, just given that 12,000 evacuees have sort of flooded that Penticton and the broader area, many trying to secure hotel rooms. So soon this camp will be fully operational. You'll expect places to eat, places for them to shower, use the washroom. But for now, still a bit of a work in progress. Conditions right now seem relatively calm, not a whole lot of wind. It is pretty cool out, but we are expecting those temperatures to rise throughout the day. And, you know, we actually, woke up in Okanagan Falls. That's where we stayed and came out to find our vehicles covered in ash this morning. So we are getting a lot of those tough conditions and that wind blowing a bit to the south.
John, let me ask you about the situation where you are right now. If you're able to situate where the firefighting camp is in relation to Penticton.
Hey, can you guys put your hand up if you're affected by this? I just want to know how many people in the chat are actually affected by this. These fires that are raging right now across North America and Europe. Oh, you're affected, Ruff? Shiny? I'm in Illinois, so a little. I see steady medley. Oh, from Spain? Sicilia? Family is? Friends and family are? I'm very far away, though. Guys, this is insane. Why? Fortunately, just the periphery. Smoke is so thick. Yeah, what does it look like? Are you guys breathing in a lot of smoke? My friend flew out from Australia last week to relieve crews. Holy shit. We got some wildfires, but not close to me. What's the air quality like around you guys? It must be terrible. The air quality is pretty bad, but not every day. Yes, 3 air purifiers in the house. Holy moly. It's fine. In 2018, I did rescue aid for this shit. It's insane. Skies look like Mars. Air is awful. Respirator masks, not great. I can tell the difference. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's all going to be there, right? It's going to smell like a... Often it's hazy, like fog almost. Holy crap.
In relation to where the fire is burning in and around Summerland, because I understand it's further south. I mean, the traveling back and forth between these areas, how challenging is that for the firefighters?
Yeah, it'll be a bit of a trek in the morning, but not too bad because while the main highway is closed for the general public,
we had totally orange sky here and hard to breathe here in New York. When was this, Deb? I can't imagine what asthmatics like myself are going through. Oh my gosh.
The wildfire fighters will be able to take that. So it'll probably be about a 30 to 40 minute drive for them, just given that they'll have that access. But a bit of a trip. And we do know right now, though, some of the wildfire fighter crews have posted up in Penticton. So they are staying a bit closer, so a bit easier access for them to get to the front line. But that fire still raging out of control right now.
I can honestly say that mainstream media isn't reporting. I think mainstream media right now in the US has talked about Hassan more than it has talked about these fires.
And fire crews across the Pacific Northwest facing a busy wildfire season with more than 500,000 acres burned across our state. That's topping last year's season totals. To the north, thousands of our neighbors are under evacuation orders, and this comes with more than
500,000 acres. How much is 500,000 acres, folks? How much is that? How much is that? If you had to show it, you know how when you ask your kid, like, how much do you love me? And they go like this. I feel like 500,000 acres is a little bit more than that. You know, it's like that.
100 confirmed wildfires now burning across Western Canada. Authorities have declared a state of emergency as the Bald Range fire bears down on the small city of Summerland. More than 20,000 people have been forced from their homes, with an untold number of buildings already destroyed. Drought, windy weather, and high temperatures have been adding fuel to the flames, with nearly half of the fires burning uncontained.
The clown doesn't want USA to care. Yeah, I honestly think that that mainstream media has reported more about Hassan Piker than it has about these fires. Toro Silva, thank you so much.
And we're also tracking some brand new fires popping up on the east side of our state. And we have Fox 13's Sam Campbell.
So what's happening? So these fires are happening, and then there are fires that are just like fucking starting in other places because of the heat. I mean, surely not all of these are being lit by somebody, right? Like this is just, the ground is hot right now. Shit's just starting to catch on fire.
Here in studio with the latest. Sam, how big are these fires?
Well, there's one in particular that is absolutely massive, and we'll get to that in a moment, but there's a few that have sprung up. Yesterday's winds not helping with this fire danger. So
Washington, we get them every year. Has it been this big though? Like, is it getting worse? Is it, because what I'm hearing is that it's getting worse. Hey, welcome, Zach. Like, Europe is in a terrible place right now.
let's go through them here. I'll give you the most updated details that we know. First
Spokane
up,
is
the
like
Nunemaker
at
Road
300K.
fire was first spotted yesterday around 7:30 in the morning. It's now exploded in size. 17,000 acres and growing at 0% containment. Officials say this fire is human-caused. Now, I'm not sure why, but we do know that sometimes this is from a lack of evidence that the fire was natural, not positive evidence of being man-made. So I've reached out for more information there, but for now, let's turn to the Little Goose fire burning dozens of miles away across the Snake River. This one also popped up on Friday evening at 10 acres, but by yesterday after...
I would not want to go to Rattlesnake Flat because I hate snakes, and if Rattlesnakes Flat means that there's lots of rattlesnakes, fuck that place.
Afternoon, grown to 7,500 acres, 0% containment there too. And again, officials labeling this a human-caused fire. So if you're living near Pullman or you're a student headed back for fall semester a bit early, you might want to keep an eye on this next one. The Palouse fire is burning just east of Colfax. That's about 15 miles from Pullman. It's about 200 acres and fully out of control at last report. But those numbers are coming from yesterday evening, so we are awaiting some updated statistics there. Firefighters don't know whether this one was naturally caused. Now let's jump across the mountains to the west side of this state. Take a look at this video. One of our reporter's family members took this video aboard a Delta flight yesterday. It's the Grand Park 2 fire burning on Mount Rainier. It's at 245 acres at last check. Those numbers coming in yesterday evening around 6:20 p.m. It has shut down Route 410 to Sunrise and the White River areas. So not exactly welcome news if you were planning on going for a hike or going camping there, but people living near Enumclaw and Bonnie Lake also feeling a bit anxious given the lack of precipitation in the forecast. Both the Nunemaker Road fire and the Little Goose fire are burning on
So I've heard both narratives here. I've heard people say this happens all the time, and I've heard people say this is like massive. It hasn't happened like this. Which one is it, folks? Has it happened like this, or is this just normal? Are they getting bigger, or like what's going on? Because I have never seen reporting like this from America other than the LA fires last year, I think it was. It's different this year. They're more frequent for sure. Every year since like 2016, getting bigger, though. Oh, really? Oh, it's the same. 31% of Delaware. 2023, all of Southern California was on fire. Yeah. It's becoming normal. It's not normal. Happens a lot on the West Coast in general, but the fires are pretty big. NGL. They are getting bigger and more frequent, but this is nowhere near a couple of years ago. I see.
Private land, though, so hopefully the riverbank there is acting as a natural containment line for them. The good news on those, it's wild terrain, and there are very few buildings in their path right now. Shira, Abby?
All right, Sam, thank you so much for that update. We'll keep watching it. Now, we do have some encouraging signs that a trio of wildfires burning in northern Spokane are slowly getting under control. So the Old Trails fire made headlines after the man accused of setting that now faces fire.
In Washington, ground is so dry, the dirt is powder. Do you mean powder? Canada, too, it's drier and drier. We have no fires when I was a kid. So let's just divert all the water to data centers. Yeah, it seems like a good idea, doesn't it?
5 counts of first-degree arson. That fire is at about 3,000 acres. The Old Trails fire is also about 43% contained. Just
who the fuck is lighting these fires?
North of the Old Trails fire.
Lighting a fire like this is murder. It's murder.
The Autumn Lane fire is at 5,700 acres with containment running at about 61%. A third fire near Spokane, the Fairview fire, has burned just under 1,000 acres. Authorities say that fire is at about 43% contained. The Little Giant fire is turning into just monster flames here, spreading near the shores of Lake Chelan. Level 3 go now evacuation orders are in place for a large portion of Chelan's west side. Now, we have not received.
Guys, this is, I just feel like this is apocalyptic, isn't it? Like we're seeing fucking just fire and drought in Europe. Like what's going to happen this year, man?
Received any reports of impacts to structures, but the fire has grown to more than 111,000 acres. The fire is only 2% contained.
Hypervisor, you seem a lot more optimistic than me. Let's not forget the earthquake too, bro. In Venezuela, yeah.
And yesterday we told you about the...
Oh, shit. Yeah, the Venezuela earthquake. I'd almost forgotten about it.
Grand Park 2 fire. At last check, it's 245 acres in a rugged area and has no containment. As Sam mentioned just a short time ago, it was spotted just after noon on Friday when the fire was only about 50 acres in size. So far, only a small group of firefighters have been dispatched to it without favorable weather conditions, though locals are concerned about the fire adding more smoke to an area that's already having air quality issues.
We took a flight to Tennessee, so
the earthquake in Egypt, yes.
Once we went over the Mount Rainier area, we could see.
Can someone give me an idea of what happened in the earthquake in Egypt, please? Like, I haven't actually checked it out. Like, where are we at with that earthquake? Is it, what damage has it done?
The smoke and flames throughout. It's concerning, definitely concerning. I'd love to see those fires put out quick. We're praying for rain for sure.
The next 24 to 48 hours could determine how this fire grows or if firefighters are able to get an upper hand. In Oregon, the Big Grass Fire is now the 32nd largest wildfire in the U.S. ever. It's also in the top 10 in the last 2 decades.
Oh my gosh, the world is literally on fire, bro. What in the world is going on? Oh my gosh. The surprising thing here is that there's actually very few fires in India. That's very surprising to me. After the heat wave that it's been through, the dryness, that's crazy. Look at Africa. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you see what I mean, right? Like, Africa has very little in terms of infrastructure. These people here are going to be displaced into bordering countries. Look at fires over here. Like, we're talking about South Sudan and Sudan. People are already being displaced in these places due to war. All being displaced due to war and now climate change. They're all going to head to where? To these borders, everybody. They're going to start entering these borders, North Africa, to get into fucking Europe. True, I'm from Mozambique. Ah, I see. So like I am telling you this, okay? I am telling you this right now. We are in the midst of one of the biggest crises in the world. Migration crises, refugee crises, displacement crises, driven by climate change, driven by warmongering, and driven by poverty. And you saw what happened Morocco into Spain. Like, that is going to be nothing compared to what's coming. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people being completely displaced, looking for food, shelter, water. This is what the world is going to have to deal with. We are coming to one of the largest displacement crises the world has ever seen. And then you put a pandemic into the mix, and then you throw closed borders and capitalism, greed into the mix. What the fuck are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? The Mediterranean is already a mass grave. Like, none of this is like fear mongering. It's already happening.
Southeastern Oregon fires burning into Idaho now at 504,000 acres. It's 41% contained.
Yes,
Emergencies
Cecilia.
are in place in Idaho's Owyhee County. All right, and let's get right over to meteorologist Abby Oconee, because Abby, you've been tracking these fire conditions.
Yeah.
Definitely something top of mind for so many right now across our state.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we no longer have red flag warnings for eastern Washington like the last 2 days, but fire danger is still elevated, though a notch lower today. Air quality locally is good. We're in the green. We love to see that in western Washington, but also feeling for our friends east of the Cascades, where ongoing hazardous air is happening in the purple dots that you see here.
Bro, look at this fucking Spokane place. It's literally like all around it is on fire. Like, who lives in Spokane, by the way? If you live in Spokane and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait and see what's gonna happen, get the fuck out right now. Get out. This is your noisy immigrant saying, get the fuck out. Leave.
Now, the Yakima Valley, you're going to fare much better compared to communities up to the north and the northeast. Here in western Washington, like I've mentioned, there might be minor amounts of haze in our skies. We can't rule that out. But in general, I'm expecting air quality to, for the most part, stay good. At worst, in the next few days, maybe dropping to moderate.
Hey, look at this. Look at this, man.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday. Tonight, nearly 100 large wildfires are straining firefighting resources nationwide. More than 30,000 personnel.
Hello, Candace. Hello, Mike. Hello, Mike. Hello.
Some 1,800 engines and more than 220 helicopters are deployed in the fight against the flames. The big fires right now raging in the west. The fire danger exploding this weekend in western Canada. One official describing the inferno as a bomb going off. And CBS's Gwen Baumgartner is in Los Angeles tracking it all, and she leads us off tonight.
Gwen Baumgartner is a great name.
Gwen, good evening to you.
Good evening, Tom. Hot, dry conditions like this are gripping much of the West, and that's extending all the way into British Columbia, where these conditions, coupled with hot...
You do know Spokane had a wildfire run through part of it. Yeah, I do. But just looking at that map, it looks like it's still very much on fire. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I just feel like they're going to be people who are like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to sit this one. I'm just going to wait it out. There's always people who just say, I'll wait it out.
High erratic winds are fueling dangerous wildfires. In Summerland, British Columbia, 20,000 residents raced to evacuate under red fiery skies as the explosive Bald Range fire took hold of homes along this mountainside.
I don't know whether my house is gone or still there or not, but that fire came so fast and furious.
Officials liken the devastation to a bomb going off, quickly declaring a
like, yeah, the way they report it so calmly is unsettling. Like, our air is poison and whole towns are being wiped out. Yeah, Shiny, it's insane. Where is the urgency? Where is the it's so boned. This is how they're going to report like nuclear fallout. No, we have clouds of nuclear waste. We have nuclear clouds floating over New York today. we estimate that around 10 million people will die. But the cloud should dissipate right after.
State of emergency. More than 100 active wildfires are underway in the province of British Columbia, with half classified as out of control and more evacuations expected.
Some people became trapped as conditions changed very quickly and needed to be rescued. It remains a very dynamic.
No, you're sure? No, I'm not sure, Cecilia. I was just making a terrible comparison.
And threatening situation.
Across the border, residents in Spokane, Washington know those threats firsthand after a series of devastating wildfires torched more than 900 homes.
Oh my gosh.
Crews continue to make progress. Hotspots remain a concern in Spokane.
Curves.
Late today, authorities allowed some residents
Hola.
to return home, or rather, to what's left.
I know I feel kind of more emotional just at seeing it. It didn't seem like it could be real, and it is real.
Throughout the Pacific Northwest, severe drought is fueling more than 40 uncontained fires.
You couple that with the red flag weather and fire danger weather, and you get that explosive fire growth, that explosive fire behavior.
And in Utah, these were the conditions two pilots faced in a deadly helicopter crash as they were fighting the Wide Mouth 2 fire. The firefight continues.
West Coasters are so chill. Just gonna see what happens. Yeah, we'll just see what happens. Hey, Shanna, welcome. 900. Last I heard was 700. What do you mean, number of fires? Trashnomancer?
And here in Los Angeles, residents are bracing for this continued wildfire season. In just the past 24 hours, we've seen 3 large fires break out that have threatened homes and highways. Tom?
Oh, structures burned in Spokane. Fuck.
A dangerous situation, Gwen. Thank you.
Okay, Gwen. I appreciate that reporting. This is 4 hours ago from British Columbia.
And Federal Emergency Management Minister Eleanor Olszewski saying in a social media post that she has approved a request for federal assistance from British Columbia to provide shelter and accommodations for people who have been forced to leave their homes due to wildfires across the province. The minister goes on to say that she has tasked federal officials.
There is an Algerian rap lyric that translates to, "I prefer to be eaten by fish than by bugs," meaning it is preferable to die trying to risk crossing the Mediterranean Sea than to die rotting slowly in my country with no future or hope. Oh my gosh. Yankulni El Hout Maya Kulnish El Daud. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. That's sad. That's fucking sad.
Led by the Government Operations Centre at Public Safety Canada to work with the province to ensure support reaches those who need it the most. With me now is Ravi Parmar, BC's Minister of Forests. Minister, thank you very much for being here. BC is now under a state of emergency and thousands of people have been forced from their homes. How much worse do you expect the wildfire situation to get in the coming days?
Well, Renee, thank you very much for having me on your show, and good afternoon to all your listeners. Without a doubt, we are facing some very serious challenges here in British Columbia with the current wildfire situation, and in particular, the challenging weekend.
A huge amount of BC's forests. BC's forests are dead, standing trees from pine beetle infestations. Our forests are tinderboxes. Are the pine beetles still there? Because if they are, they're about to be roast.
Up until Friday evening, throughout the weekend for residents in the Okanagan. This new fire that we dealt with Friday evening was something like we've never seen before here in British Columbia. This fire grew from 50 hectares to over 1,000 hectares in just about an hour's time, and with that led to the evacuation of the town of Summerlin. Over 15,000 individuals, including Mayor Van Minsel and parts of his community in Peachland as well. So it has been a challenging 24 hours, and we do.
Candace, where you are you feeling smoke? Are you seeing smoke? Are you smelling burnt woodland? Like what is it like where you are?
We do have dry lightning in the forecast and expect some more challenging days ahead.
We are seeing extremely intense fire behavior in BC, including fires spreading rapidly like that one the other night, and also creating their own weather systems. Does the BC Wildfire
It was bad for you a few weeks ago. I see.
Service have enough firefighters, aircraft, and equipment to handle what you're facing right now?
I think the challenge that we're facing, Renee, with these fires in particular, and you've done a great job in describing the unique challenges with the cloud systems and the weather forecasts and all of the other challenges we're facing in the context of these fires, is there are no more resources you could put on these fires. As was described by officials when I was being briefed on Saturday morning, you could have put 1,000 people on that fire and it wouldn't have made a difference. Throughout that fire into Friday evening, we had to revert our resources quickly from fighting fires to actually evacuating individuals. And so 19 helicopters, we threw everything we could at the fire. We then reverted those helicopters to try to help and remove as many people as we could, given how quickly that fire was growing. And you're absolutely right. I think the one challenge that our wildland firefighters are facing right now is the smoky conditions and the intensity of these fires.
Have there been any casualties, or have people generally evacuated on time?
Now, BC has brought in hundreds of firefighters and personnel from Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, with more international
out there mentioned. Yes.
Help expected. How dependent is the province right now on that outside assistance?
We're very grateful for all of those countries that you've named, including resources within Canada as well, Quebec, Australia, Yukon, and other jurisdictions as well.
Yo, what about New Zealand?
We are grateful for the ability for those nations and those provinces and territories to stand with British Columbia in our time of need. Last year was a commerce season. It was a record-breaking season in our ability to be able to help support other jurisdictions. And we are now so immensely grateful that in our time of need, all of these jurisdictions, all of these heroic wildland firefighters are now standing with us, supporting our communities. We have grown our BC Wildfire Service year over year over year, and we're going to continue to grow it to be able to meet the demand of the challenges we're facing here in British Columbia, alongside all of the wildfire mitigation work that we need to lead to be able to deal with the impacts of climate change, drought, and these very hot and dry conditions.
Right.
Chat, we all agree that this is because of climate change, right? Like, is there any questions in the chat? Like, do we think it's do we think this is just a normal global cycle?
Right. Every year, communities are
okay. Thank you.
Facing these devastating wildfire seasons, and it seems to be getting worse and worse over the years. What do you say to British Columbians asking whether enough has been done on forest management and wildfire prevention to reduce the risk before fires reach communities?
It's a great question, Renee. There's always more that can be done. British Columbia and my
bro, this guy is about to drop like the fattest aboot in the world. I can hear it. I can hear this guy dropping the loudest, longest aboot.
Responsibility as the Minister of Forest. I'm responsible for a land base larger than the size of most countries in Europe. And so there is a need for us to step up and do more. And so throughout the rest of this wildfire season, we're going to be focused entirely on protecting life, protecting property, and protecting communities. And post-wildfire season, without a doubt, we will be redoubling our efforts in wildfire
he said, dude,
mitigation work and ensuring that we can build a working forest that can last generations with wildfire resilience at the top of my priority list.
All right. That's our time. Minister Parmar, thank you very much for yours today.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Parmar, because apparently, just don't ask me to say bagel. Oh, dear. A state of survival. Sorry, mods. The truth. Hey, BB Shorts. Welcome. Okay, let's look at the severe drought in England as well.
This isn't the England that most people picture.
So, welcome to England's green and pleasant lands.
It's looking pretty dry.
Yeah, it's barren, it's desolate, it's just dead.
More than half the country is in severe drought after its driest July ever.
This is some...
Yo, dry July. You know, when I used to drink, I used to try and do dry July, which was about alcohol-free. And I lasted for about, like, 48 hours, I think.
Precedented in the UK. I'm nearly 50 years old. I've never seen anything like this, and I hope to God I never see anything like this again.
What do you mean, I hope to God I never see anything like this again? Bro, it's called climate change. It ain't coming back, governor.
Excessive heat waves have taken a toll on Charles Godby's cows, cutting milk production by 20%.
They're no different to you and I.
It's not the immigrants, buddy. It's not the immigrants creating your problems.
When you're hot, you're not wanting to eat, you're not wanting to work, so the same for them, and when they're not eating, they're not producing.
And months without rain has devastated the crops he relies on to feed them.
You'd expect this now to be 9-10 foot tall and lush green, thick foliage, but as you can see, there's nothing there.
Next door.
This is so fucking bad. Like, these guys, you're being sarcastic. Just you wait.
Or Richard Bars grows potatoes for fish.
Yeah, I bet you all these dudes are voting for like reform, are shitting on the Greens. Oh, that Zach Polanski, that bloke, that bloke is a bit of a right, whatever they say. It's like, oh, Zach Polanski, that bloke.
And chip shops across the country.
That's the biggest potato we've got here. Ordinarily, I'd expect.
That's the biggest potato we've got here. But yeah, go Nigel Farage.
These to be 2-3 times the size.
But none from this entire crop will make it to the fryer.
Things like that are just tiny. They're not going to be able to make a chip out of it. But it's just too small. I've never.
Lock those climate activists up. Lock them up. Lock them up, I tell ya. Lock them up, mates. Lock them up.
Known crops like this dying off in August.
Those nipples on that farmer. I didn't even fucking notice, bro. Thank you, chat. Chat, stop looking at his nipples, please.
They should be green till October.
The impact of the drought is being felt.
Ecofascism is environmentalism through genocide, opined Klein. Political researcher Alex Ahmed defined eco-fascist belief as the devaluing of human life, particularly of populists seen as inferior in order to protect the environment, viewed as essential to white identity. Per Google, noisy immigrant, ignore the dashes.
From the countryside to the capital.
In London, this is where many people come to find relief in summer. But after successive heat waves and months without meaningful rain, even Hyde Park's famous...
Bro, this looks like what Indian parks look like all the time. Like in India, parks have looked like this for fucking decades. This is the kind of shit we used to play cricket on when I was a kid.
green lawns have pretty much turned to dust.
These pictures show the dramatic...
You can take the British out of India, but you can't take the India out of the British.
Well done, my boy.
देखा मैंने कितना अच्छा डांस करता है?
Woo!
Thank you, friends.
Big transformation in less than 12 months.
I mean, it's very, very dry. It's kind of giving desert vibe.
Last year it was like really nice grass, but it's not this year.
There have been 3 droughts in England in the past 5 years.
Conditions we're seeing in the UK at the moment are a result of climate change. It's very alarming, the amount of extreme weather events we've seen.
With the forecast offering no relief, the pressure on farmers like Charles grows.
It's still the best job in the world, but my God, it's tough. I mean, you're just fighting against the weather, climate change.
The fight goes on. And
these farmers have, sturdy nips.
So does the wait
All of them.
for rain. Bridget Rollison, ABC News, Warwickshire.
Every single one of them. Sturdy ass nips. Okay. Why low Rhine water levels are a growing risk for Germany? Okay.
Several states in Germany are easing restrictions for transport trucks as Germany's longest river dries up. Freight carriers can now drive on Sundays and public holidays. The Rhine is a key artery for cargo vessels transporting goods to ports, including Rotterdam in the Netherlands and Duisburg in Cologne, that is, in Germany. But heat and drought have brought water levels to historic lows.
Jeez.
The Rhine is the backbone of Germany's river transport system. And experts are warning that the country's struggling economy could take another hit.
The Rhine near Duisburg.
Okay, guys, this just feels like all of this is starting to feel like just before when Hitler rose to power. I feel like Germany's about to start hiling like crazy. Roman saluting en masse.
Ships are still running, but water levels are at historic lows. The situation is extremely critical, and it's happening very early in the year. Duisburg is Europe's largest inland port. It's a hub for containers filled with goods and raw materials from all over the world. However, low water levels are driving up transport costs for businesses.
Are we leaves blowing in the wind group of people here, or not leaves blowing in the wind group? I don't know what that means. My favorite teacher in 2007 told us water wars would start between 2025 and 2030. I think about that often. Holy shit, just one camera? Yeah, you should ring your teacher up.
Many vessels are operating with significantly reduced loads. This particularly affects the steel and chemicals industries, which rely on raw material deliveries via waterways.
One alternative, of course, is the use of so-called low-water optimized vessels. But as you can probably imagine, these aren't built overnight. A ship typically takes between 1.5 and 2.5 years to build, depending on its dimensions. And
yeah, I can see the Fourth Reich rising from all of this. I can see the Fourth Reich rising from all of this. They're going to start blaming immigrants for their low rivers. They're going to start blaming immigrants for their hot weather. They're going to start blaming immigrants for fucking everything. And before you know it, bing, bang, boom, Fourth Reich.
naturally, given the size of the Rhine shipping fleet, this process can only happen gradually, step by step.
According to traders, the cost of transporting goods by waterway from Rotterdam to Karlsruhe has risen to 150 to 160 euros per ton, compared to 45 euros at the end of June. The Federal Minister of Transport promises support.
We can't influence the weather, but we could ensure that our economy gets through these difficult weeks better. That's why we will now take corrective action where necessary. If transport has to be shifted to the roads at short notice, we can make exceptions to the Sunday and public holiday driving ban for particularly affected.
Islam is somehow responsible for this as well, I guess. You know?
Goods.
That helps the transport companies, at least in the short term, but it doesn't help the Rhine. Here near Neuss, a sunken fishing boat has resurfaced due to the low water level.
This month is so extreme, the prolonged heat. It's not just a brief spell of 40 degrees or something. We've had this heat for, I think, over 8 weeks now. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had this heat for over 8 weeks now. Just when we, lifted the ban on head coverings. You see, it's Islam. It's Islam. It's immigration. It's Islamic immigration. That's what's causing our rivers to evaporate away. The influx of immigrants. They're drinking all our water. It's not even the sun. They're just drinking our water. Look, you can see an immigrant there drinking water.
Yeah, it's scary. Of course it's scary.
Ja, macht Angst. Natürlich macht es Angst.
Heat waves and drought have severely impacted Germany's longest river. The Rhine is not only an important transport route for goods, but also a water source for millions of people and a habitat for animals and plants.
Right, let's dig deeper into this with Kirsten Stahl, a
jump scare
hydrologist at the University of Freiburg. Hello, Professor. Thanks for joining us. Look, I've seen it myself. The Rhine's water levels are quite low. Summer is not even over yet. Is this normal, or should we be concerned?
No, it's
coming over here stealing our water. Yeah,
it's not normal at all. It's unprecedented. The low flows, in particularly for this time
Those glasses are like, I've never seen glasses like that in my life. Pink, black, pink, hexagon. That's a hexagon, right? 6 sides. I've never seen glasses like this. Like that's, and it just feels too small. Is it just me, or do the glasses just seem really small for her?
Time of the year. Normally low flows happen much later in the year.
Like some sort of like scientist, you know, just in like a bunker for years studying aliens.
In late fall or winter.
So is this simply the combination of heat, drought, and low rainfall, or is Germany facing an even bigger problem here?
The plastic glass is deformed due to all the heat.
It is a combination.
Do you mean all the heat caused by all the immigrants?
So the current event is really a combination of several things. It's
I love you,
the
Chad.
drought that has just been described. I mean, we've had below rainfall since February. It's the heat that dries out the land in addition to that, evaporation. And then we had a winter with very low snowpacks. And normally in summer, from the very, very high elevation, there's still snow melting and running down the river. And this is missing this year. And the last thing that melts and runs down the river would be the glaciers. And as you will know, that most of the glaciers have shrunk considerably over the last years. So there's not much more to be.
Islam, Christianity, Judaism. We lived thousands of years peacefully together since Zionism we start. Except that Jews were persecuted horribly in Europe for a long period of time. And the fact that Judaism was much safer in the Ottoman Empire than in Europe. Europe has been mass murdering Jewish people for a long time. Europe has just hated Jewish people. Like, what are you talking about? Jewish people didn't live in peace in Europe. They were persecuted for hundreds of years. Europe is where anti-Semitism comes from.
Be had from them as well.
Right. I mean, obviously, this causes a lot of challenges. We know that current water levels are affecting shipping and agriculture. What about ecosystems and drinking water?
Yeah, there are indeed a lot more sectors or water uses that are suffering and that have these drought impacts. The drought is also in connection with the groundwater hydrologically and with the lakes. So there we also see impacts on tourism, impacts because of groundwater intrusion that affect the drinking water, saltwater intrusion in the deltas, and many other things. And the ecosystems are indeed suffering because of the high temperatures and the low oxygen. And the water quality overall is not very good.
Yeah, I mean, what's not very good also is what people do in such situations. I mean, can droughts like this be prevented, or do we just have to learn how to manage their effects?
Yeah, I'm afraid it's a natural hazard that cannot be prevented. I mean, in the long term, we can do climate protection and help that it doesn't get even worse. But we'll have to learn how to deal with it and adapt, and in particular negotiate who gets the water for what purpose. There's agriculture, there's public water supply, there's energy, there's industry, and so on. We've talked about it. So this is what we have to do.
Wow. So how can Germany become more resilient to drought and low water periods?
Can we just prevent it somehow? Yeah, bro. Let's stop fucking putting carbon in the atmosphere.
We can make risk management plans. Spain has them. Germany is lagging behind a little bit with drought management plans, and that there are some strategies now to deal with that, especially this prioritization of different water uses, for example. This is what we have to work on in management.
Right, and is that it? And when that is done, we should not be too concerned.
Find a poorer country and steal it from them.
No, I think still we need to learn to live with certain periods that have either too much water or too little water. And yeah, just accept that we cannot always have everything we want.
Okay, lady. We're going to watch one more here. This was 8 hours ago on Sky News, and it's the heat wave. Heat wave.
Franz de Boer is pretty resilient. Farmers need to be. But a fifth heat wave is unprecedented.
Gerhard, bro, why do you act like this person who is morally correct? You just hate Islam and Judaism. Just say it. Just say it. Why do you pretend to be this person who's pro-Palestine when you just hate Islam and Judaism? Just say it, bro. Why do you keep me in suspense? Why are you so upset about just speaking with your chest?
And it follows the driest July on record.
Hey, Miss Angus, welcome.
Since the beginning of June, so it's no wonder there's no grass growth at all, and that's really unusual for us. But it's becoming the norm now.
This field should have good grazing grass, but it's scorched. He's not buying any more lambs, as it's expensive to feed them. For us, it could mean less lamb on the market at higher prices.
I mean, this should be about 7 foot tall, should have nice big juicy cobs on it. As you can see, it's quite dehydrated.
His maize is wilting in the field.
Very low grain count, and you know the whole thing is starting to dehydrate with lack of water, so it's a real concern.
And it's the same across the sector.
Livestock farmers are struggling. They've got no grass to feed their cows, so they're starting to feed their winter feed, which is not a good time of year to be doing that when they should be grazing the grass. But if you look at the national situation and then the situation across Europe, put that all together, and it's a recipe for, again, inflation on food.
Large swathes of the country are already in drought, and it might be the whole country soon, with little rain in sight. The problem is, it's not just British farmers who are feeling...
You just hate these religious fanatics? You are a religious fanatic, bro. Based on your last fucking comment, you are a Christo-fascist. Like, why are you fucking LARPing as this inclusive human being? You're a Christo-fascist, buddy.
The impact of this extreme heat, farmers across Europe are feeling the effects of it too. Add to that the uncertainties surrounding the geopolitical picture with the wars that are taking place across the world. It all means that there is just so much uncertainty which will be passed on to consumers, with food insecurity and prices invariably rising. That's something experts say is no doubt coming down the line.
I'm not concerned we'll run out of food anytime soon. What is more concerning is the price of foods. So when we have any kind of climate-related yield shock, or any yield shock per se, then prices usually go up, so food will be more expensive. At the moment, we have fairly high yield shocks, up to even 20%.
Temperatures are rising faster across the European continent than anywhere else in the world.
Hi, Epstein Files,
and
welcome.
Here in the UK, the next few weeks will continue to be hot and dry, meaning even more uncertainty for Franz and farmers like him. Ashish Joshi, Sky News in West Sussex.
Thank you, friends.
Oh my goodness, what a crazy time in the world, everybody. Holy shit. Holy shit. There is an effect on food plus Hormuzzi, double bad. Yeah, I mean,
reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
It's bad. It's bad. Nathan Drake, thank you so much for the follow. I feel like we are fucking dog walking into like absolute disaster. I'm telling you guys, there is an insane there is a disaster brewing, and it starts with displacement. Okay? We are about to experience one of the largest displacement crises on Earth. It will start in the global south, and it will be because of war, climate, it will be because of food supply, and we're not far away from it. And then you add in pandemics, you add in a pandemic to that, into that mix, you are talking about a disaster of epic proportions. This is the kind of thing we are staring down the barrel of. And yet, our world is not investing in human well-being. In isn't this mainly because of El Nino and multi-year weather patterns? Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. The thing though is you'll have El Nino like this. You'll have weather patterns like this very much at a it's going to keep happening now, right? We've got to expect, if we keep pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere at the rate we are, we've got to understand that the greenhouse effect is going to get worse and worse and worse. That means in the global south, where there's infrastructure, where there isn't infrastructure to deal with problems like this, it's going to create mass displacement crises. Mass displacement crises. And we're talking about tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people whose houses are become inhabitable due to war, due to famine, due to climate change, due to the whole shebang. It's already happening, guys. We're seeing mass displacement. I mean, tens of millions of people are currently being displaced from Sudan because of a sponsored war. You add on climate to that. You add on, various different diseases, all of these things spreading, pandemics. It's huge. And we're seeing the signs of it now. And it's only going to get worse from here because no one's really improving the situation of our climate. No one's improving the situation of the crap we're pumping into the climate. So, yeah, I just think we're staring down the barrel. It's just this extractionism is causing, whether it's war, famine, or etc. Yeah, exactly. So, I just hope we can start to bring leaders into the world who start to give a fuck about this. Otherwise, we're so screwed. We're so screwed. Africa is on loan from the banks and IMF, so no, tell the truth. What do you mean? I understand that, Bobby, but it's like, oh, talking to the chat? Okay, yeah. It's just getting worse and worse and worse, guys. It's just getting worse. I fear that we're going to see like mass death events. The crazy thing is, like, Vox did this piece on El Niños, and then Vox was like, oh, in the late 1800s, El Nino killed off a whole bunch of Indian people due to starvation. Vox made it seem like it was an El Nino that murdered all of those people. It didn't mention what the British were doing there at all. It just made it seem like, oh yeah, it was an El Nino that was killing mass amounts of Indian people due to starvation. Why were they starving? Okay, so this is the kind of situation we're getting into where all of these different issues are converging, and it's going to create a massive crisis. Weird way to spell Churchill. No, it wasn't Churchill at that time. It was it was 1880 to about 1920. Churchill killed 3 million Bengalis. I think that's what you're referring to, starved them to death. But this was a lot bigger than what Churchill did. Pre-Churchill, yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope we can keep talking about these climate issues, because I think we need to prioritize talking about this and spreading news about this. So I'll keep on the lookout for things that matter. But I'll be for now. I have to go pick up my son today, and then I'll be back on in the evening at around, I'm hoping 7 p.m. a little bit earlier, 6:30, 7 p.m. New Zealand time, and then we'll do the evening session. But thank you so much for being here with me today. We should raid somebody. Rhizome? Yeah, let's raid Rhizome. Ooh, I haven't raided Sad Girl in a while. Let's raid Sad Girl. I'm sure Sad Girl isn't going to be pissed at me. Hopefully. Take care, everybody. I will catch you all later on in a couple of hours. Hey, Just One Camera. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. And look after yourselves. We'll chat soon, okay? All right. Raiders. Get ready. In 3, 2, 1. Remember, you have to be noisy in chat. Be noisy in Sad Girl's chat. Let's go. Raiders, go. And Kakite TikTok, Kakite YouTube. I'll catch you all soon. Free Palestine. I'll catch you all soon, okay? Free Palestine.
You follower detected. Consciousness.